Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Checkered Flag E-Streaming. I am Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you up here in the booth tonight for the Aussie Outlaws series brought to you by Lucas Oils Australia. We are here for round 3 of the championship in the sunny Sin City of Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm joined up here in the booth by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back here for round 3, and let's hope we don't have a repeat of last week's little incident with the broadcast. We hope we've sorted that out. Some silly bot decided to tag us as the real thing.
Absolutely. You know you're doing a good job when not even the bots can work out that you are not actually a real broadcast. You are a sim racing broadcast. But, well, these things do happen now and again, and we do apologise for not bringing you the final to last week's race, which Ryan Jones ended up taking a victory in, just ahead of Andrew Dyson, I believe it was, with, I'm trying to think who was third on the podium, and I cannot think of that at the moment. So it was a very, very decent race indeed. Hopefully we're going to be treated to some of the same tonight here in Sin City, Las Vegas.
Yeah, third place was Jamie Nankervis in the number 8 Valve E-Scar in Toyota. So, yeah, it was some good racing. We're just in the last 30 seconds of qualifying here with pictures of Andrew Dyson on track. And tonight, Carl, I can actually see that we have the Godfather himself, Ed Foster, out there on track tonight having a run. And also arch nemesis Neil Pearson out there for a race tonight. So be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely. It'd be good to see all of those boys fighting it out on track. Just seen it up in the chat that Neil spun out of 4 on his qualifying lap, so did not set a time. So that means that Carl Needler has actually taken pole position, snatching it away from Andrew Dyson in the closing seconds by 0.02 of a second to 2 millionths of a second, 2 thousandths of a second, but very, very close indeed. So absolutely taking a fantastic pole there for Needler ahead of Andrew Dyson on the outside. Row number 2, we'll see Ryan Jonesy Jones lining up next to Stevie Dubb, a DPR lockout for row number 2. Ruben Phelps and Wayne Van Billion will take up row number 3. On the 4th row tonight, it's Russell Bracker, our American contingent, with Nick Buttrill. Tom Williams and Edward Foster make up the 5th row. Row number 6, we've got Adam Ariel with Jamie Nankervis. Row 7 is Justin Allen with Norman Clark. Row number 8, we have Mark Smith with Brett Campbell. Tristan Koch and Phil Butler make up row number 9. It's Martin Pedersen with Luke Yeager on the 10th row. Matt Beal and Luke Georgeson on the 11th row. On row number 12 is Steve Hoppett with Mr. Neil Pearson. Matty Ray, Noddy Tompkins on the 13th row. Let's hope that's not too unlucky for them. And Maxie Marshall rounding out our grid tonight on row number 14. Now, we did have the weather up just before, and luckily no rain lurking around, which is good news for all of those drivers out there. We're looking at a fairly clear, nice day. It's 19 degrees Celsius in the air temperature, 23 degrees track temperature, so pretty low for Vegas. Expect to see them just enjoying that slightly lower temperature and not having to worry about the tyres getting too hot too quickly. But Las Vegas is one of those tracks that can easily catch you out, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely can. A bit abrasive here on tyres. So just watch for these guys to look after that right front, especially. Around 60 to 70 laps of fuel, I think, out of the tank tonight. So we should see about 4 stops. The guys have got 8 sets of tyres available to them. So keep an eye out. Good field, 27 cars out there tonight. So it'd be interesting to see who takes round 3.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good fight and a lot of big teams turning up as well, which is nice to see. Some good team collaborations going on throughout the field. Well, the pace car is about to pull in, and we are getting ready for 267 laps around Las Vegas Motor Speedway, ladies and gentlemen. The green is about to drop, and we are going to be going live for race number 3 of the 2024 Aussie Outlaws Lucas Oil Series, and away they go. I'm going to shut up so we can enjoy these cars roaring away here at Vegas. And as the 27 cars come across the line for the first time tonight, it was Carl Needler leading the race, but Ryan Jones has just taken that lead away from him, moving up, and somebody just gives the wall a bit of a scrape coming out of 2, but they are all running well at the moment. People deciding what lines they want. Quite a few people decided to stick it up high, a few people getting down low. The lower line can be the faster through the corner. The higher line will give you a little bit of better exit speed. Lower line can sometimes chew up the tyres a little bit quicker too. There's a bit of contact in the background, was there? Just a little moment. I just saw the corner of my eye, and they all get through that nicely. Just a little rub, I think, in the background. They are very close at the moment as they get ready for this very long race.
We've got a replay here. It looks like it's Luke Georgeson there in the 274. Looks like he's just got a touch and ended up across the grass on the tri-oval there. Very lucky to keep that under control.
Yeah, good save there by Georgeson, just to get that car back on track, not causing a caution in this early stage as well. We want to see this race run as green as possible, but with 27 cars on track, that can be much easier said than it is doing out there for these drivers. Very easy to make a mistake on a track like this, especially as you come out of 4. Watch how close these guys get to the wall as they come across the tri-oval section. It really is a track that rewards absolute bravery on the exit of the corners. The closer you can run to that wall on the corner exit, the faster you're going to go, but it does jut out a little bit, and it is very easy to get caught in it out of turns 3 and 4. So a track that can really bite, and we do see quite a few people making mistakes and giving that wall a bit of a rub as they just get past the pit lane entry. So it's Dyson in the lead. Andrew Dyson moving himself up into the lead and battling it out with a teammate at the moment. Himself and Ryan Jones fighting it out for the lead of this race. Stevie Dubb moving up quick as well. The DPR cars looking very strong at the moment, but they've got Ruben Phelps all over the rear bumper with Nick Bottarelli as well. So lots of good little fights going on here throughout the field. And I've got to say, the SRM cars are looking relatively quick there as well. So they're sort of looking pretty planted with the Virtual Motorsport mentor car of Bottarelli having a good run in the 225 and looking pretty planted at the moment himself.
Yeah, Carlo, I do believe this may be Nick's first run for the season. And right behind we can see the team boss Jamie Nankervis in there. Slightly different paint scheme in the white. Everything simulated Toyota. So Nick will be looking at updating his paint in the next week or so. I do believe he's been away on holiday, so good to see some of the guys getting away for a little bit of a break.
Absolutely. Always nice to get a little bit of a break and have a bit of a breather as Dyson's just lost a huge amount of time. What's happened to the 41 there? He's just dropped off of pace very quickly and is falling back into the grasps of everybody else as Ryan Jones is sailing away up at the front at the moment. Jonesy on an absolute flyer. Has got quite a bit of pace in that yellow DPR entry, and he's leading the pack at the moment as Dyson is just sort of being a bit of a cork in the bottle.
Yeah, the boys won't like that. He's definitely trying to block both lanes. and the boys won't put up with that. We may see a little bit of a love tap, and hey, we're not going to take this. Get out of the road if you're not quick enough. As we see Bottrell get down the inside now, when Ruben Phelps is driving along, we can see there Bottrell just trying to escort Dyson up track a little bit, and it's worked. But Dyson's been able to clear that and get back down on that low line. Now,
free wide action at Vegas, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Curvis has enough of sitting behind Phelps, and he's looking to go for a run. And in the background there, we can see the big touch there by Foster, I think that was.
Foster in the wall at the moment, and he's not really been able to get out of there. He's been caught right up high, and that is a painful one for Foster. Sort of happened coming into turn 2, I think. He's just got a little bit of a tap from behind from, I think it was Van Billion, and it's just absolutely broken the right front of that car, and it would not surprise me if he's got steering damage. It was a heavy tap, and that car is not turning left. So it looks like he has broken the steering arm on that car.
Yeah, definitely the right side, as we've seen coming around that corner. Definitely not right. He's definitely heading down pit lane, and we'll see if he can get back out there, or he pulls that behind the fence. You can see there, that right front really crumpled up.
Mark, it was such a light tap from Van Billion, just a little bit off centre, and it didn't look like much into the wall for Foster, but it absolutely has broken that right front wheel and suspension arm on that car. There's at least the steering arm has been broken because that thing is not turning. I could see it going through the corner. He was just wall riding through the corner because the thing would not turn left on him. So that is going to be a long old repair job, and that could well be the 53 out of this race. We may have lost Steve Hoppett as well from the race. He's been in pit lane for a few laps, so I think he might be coming out right now.
Yeah, he's been in there for 5 laps, so he's 5 laps down, and we see him just exiting pit lane now. So, I haven't been able to pick anything up well on either of them. It hasn't given us a marker to go back and have a look at. So I do apologise for that. And we can see there the Luke Georgeson about to go a lap down in the 214 Quantum Motorsports car, Toyota. So unfortunately for him, it's going to be a long, long night.
He's got a huge pack behind him as well, and they are going to be very quick to get past as Bratka just gets a bit loose in the mid-corner. He was forced right to the bottom, and that car did not want to stick as it went through the curve. He just managed to save it, but that was a bit of a scary moment for Russell Bratka. So it's Ryan Jones up in the lead at the moment, and Dyson's starting to come back to him. So is Nankervis, and so is Phelps, so is Brottarelli, and they are getting nice and close to Jonesy. But Jones is looking very settled up at the front, and he's sort of setting the pace at the moment. A little bit further back, the 62. We know that this DPR car is fast, and we've got Neil Pearson carving his way through the field at the moment. He is up into P12. He's made 12 positions in this race. Make that 13th position. No, that was him just getting past Georgeson. But he is flying through the field, and we know that DPR car is quick, so expect to see him getting up towards the front in the latter stages of this stint. Everybody's doing a good job of keeping pace at the moment. Then Dyson and Jones are not running away from it. You can see Nankervis in the Valve Esports car is keeping pace and actually closing on Dyson and about to make the move down the inside. That is very good news for that team because it just shows they've got a very settled car at the moment. And DPR, one of the bigger teams out there, a very experienced team as well, especially with setup work. They're not running away with it at the moment. And Nankervis is doing a great job of keeping them under pressure. So is Ruben Phelps. SRM. They've got quite a few cars on track, remember, and quite a lot of experienced drivers behind the wheel, and that car is looking pretty well set up too. You've got Ruben Phelps and Bratka up there as well. They're having some good runs and showing some really good pace at the moment.
Yeah, definitely a solo car in the field tonight. Is the Lucas Oils of Mark Smith. His team boss is away doing some real racing up at Mildura with the drag. So good luck to Paul up there. And yeah, you'll have to try and keep us updated with what's going on out there, Paul. But nevertheless, Smith is still having a great run there by himself. Let's see another one of our New Zealanders, Wayne Van Buren in the number 3 Mustang. Good to see those guys out and having a race tonight.
Yeah, some good hands in that team, and they've been having some good runs throughout the field, the VSK team, and you can see that with Carl Needler. He managed to get right up there, but gets very, very loose in the mid corner. Needler just having to feather the throttle, and that's cost a huge amount of time. Caused a big check up behind. Unfortunately for Mark Smith, he got trapped right behind Needler as he was just saving that car. Big save from him because those tyres are just dropping off on the rear. It looks like that thing is not handling how he wants it to. 53 of Foster is getting back out on track as well. Good to see that car getting some resurrections done, so not too much damage by the looks of things. Only lost about 10 laps, but still that is a long way away from the front, unfortunately for Foster. This is going to be a long night for that Matari car. Another solo warrior out there tonight with no teammates around.
Yeah, I don't think Josh is doing a lot of our races this year, JCW. We see him have a bad result in the trucks over at Anscar on Thursday night. 3 green-white checkers there on Thursday night, Carl. So unfortunate for him, he got mixed up in someone else's mess and didn't get the result. He led 95% of the race too on Thursday night.
Yeah, absolutely. A really strong performance at Phoenix, but just got caught out at the end. And well, it's great leading laps, but there's only one lap that matters when you're in a race, and that's the final one. If you can lead that one, you are golden, and that's the hardest one to lead, unfortunately. Catching many people out. You can see Neil Pearson now just getting ahead of Ruben Phelps. Has moved him up into 5th position, and Pearson is absolutely flying through the field, up 19 positions. Really doing a great job of moving himself up. The second biggest gainer is in front of him in Jamie Nankervis, up 8 spots. So some big moves and shakers throughout the field. Pearson is absolutely flying at the moment as he goes down the inside of Nankervis and looks to make another spot, up to 20 spots gained. Up into P4 goes the 62 red flavour of DPR car, and he's going to be looking to close in on the guys up front.
Yeah, definitely a great move. But what the rest of these teams don't want to see is these DPR cars join up at the front, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very long before we have 3 DPR cars out front.
Bottarelli just took a massive lick into the wall coming out of turn number 4, and that is going to be a painful one. It doesn't look like he's broken the steering arm on that car, but it's not handling how he wants it to. That thing is looking a little bit worse for wear and not looking in the best condition. I think we're getting the replay coming up just here. We might be a little bit behind, so we'll just wait for it to come out of turn 4, and he gives the wall a massive clout, and that is a big old hit on the 225 for tonight. That's going to make his race much more painful till he gets to the end. You can see he just gets up a bit high, bang, up into the wall, just on the edge of the safer barrier as well. So that is a really nasty spot to hit, and that's going to be a very painful mistake for the rest of his race. Meanwhile, Russell Bratker's on the move, looking to get past Ryan Jones. The American is flying at the moment and looking to put all the pressure he can on those DPR cars. He is the only non-DPR car currently in the top 5. He's having to duke it out with that team all on his own, and he is trying his best to do that against Ryan Jones to get himself into the lead. As Jones gets loose coming out of turn number 4, just saves it. Bratka has to check up a little bit, can't take advantage of that mistake. Can't get past just there, but can he carry the momentum through here and get himself up into the lead? Jones's car is starting to slide a little bit. The rear is looking a little bit, little bit tricky for him to handle at the moment. Just might have got a little bit too much heat in that right rear, because it is looking to start sliding as Bratka takes the lead for SRM. The 84 up in the lead and is going to get the bonus point as well as he crosses the line. A great drive up here from Bratka.
Yeah, it's good to see him out there. He's the only sole American out there tonight. Brian Massa missing and Derek Jacobs are missing tonight from the USA. But Pearson is not taking this line down. We can see him coming back, trying to close that gap again to Bratka. Those two cars, the 84 and the 62 Chevrolets, are definitely the cars got the early pace here tonight.
Yeah, it's starting to really stretch out here. This group of DPR cars with Bratka have built a huge gap over Carl Needler. They are a good 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field now. They are absolutely stretching their legs. As I've just noticed, we've got a message from our roving pit lane reporter, Mrs. Gail Foster, Mr. Foster's mum, of course. She's just seen on Mr. Hoppett's stream that he was struggling with some steering issues. So I came in to make some adjustments as it was not handling right. So I think Steve Hoppett has had to take that one behind the wall after he was struggling in the early stages, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Pearson is making the move down the inside of Bratka. He goes. The 62 is going to try and take that advantage. Bratka's got the high line here. Should have a little bit better run off the corner. Pearson is going to try and take the shorter line now, see if he can slide up in front of the 84. No giving or taking between these two at the moment. They are absolutely racing hard as Pearson just gets caught out a little bit low. The back end steps out and Bratka holds the position. Beautiful defensive driving there from Russell Bratka.
Bratka's doing a great job, and we see again Pearson just touched the wall. All those DPR cars have touched the wall so far tonight. Just the rear quarters, just stepping out, getting up that little bit high into those marbles up there and just touching the wall.
It just shows what a perilous track this is. It's one of those tracks that can really, really catch you out in a blink of an eye. If you just run slightly too high, especially through 3 and 4, you get up on those marbles, you get sucked up into the wall, and you give it a big old lick, and it can really catch you out. Currently, a few drivers have been suffered with that, but they are still carrying on and keeping the car under control. As this time, Pearson's got a great run down the back straight, looking to press the advantage. Will he slide up in front of Bratka? Has he got space? Not quite yet, not quite yet. Bratka just holding on still, keeping himself in that spot. If he can just hold Pearson down low through turns 1 and 2, he might be able to hold the position, but he needs to squeeze Pearson down, make him struggle with the corner. If he can't do that, it's going to be Pearson's position gained, and Neil Pearson gets through, slides up in front of Bratka and gets himself back into the lead. Bratka's not going to take it lying down though, goes down the inside of 3 and 4. It's going to take a slightly lower line here, see if he can get the run on Neil Pearson. Just gets pushed down that little bit, the back end a little bit stepping out, loses a little bit of momentum here, and Pearson moves himself back up ahead. Now Ryan Jones is all over the back of Bratka.
Yeah, Jonesy's giving those tyres a little bit of a rest, and we can see these DPR cars now in a single file up on the high line. Bratka's definitely trying to keep them up high and keep that P2. So he's been able to do it for another lap. But we can definitely see that he's definitely a rose amongst thorns, as to say, but very good racing up front here tonight.
He's doing a stellar job of fending off this very angry pack of DPR cars, but he is starting to struggle that little bit now. As you can see, Neil Pearson getting past has just opened up the front for them, and now Ryan Jones is just forcing Bratka just on a lower line and just not letting him run the lines that he wants. You can see Bratka trying to squeeze Ryan up high, trying to force him on a slightly awkward line. They make a little bit of contact on the exit of the corner, and then there's a bit of contact from Dyson, and that's a huge amount of damage to Bratka. He gets speared into the wall, and that is race over for the 84. Oh! Big hit. Mark Smith caught the car, and then who else was that I saw coming down as it got flung up into the path of Brett Campbell. That is a huge wreck there on the back straight, and that is definitely night done for the 84.
Got a replay coming up here, Carl. We can see coming across the start-finish line.
So, watch this. There's a little bit of contact on the exit between Bratka and Jones. Just sends the car down, just loses the rear, and just goes into the front of Dyson. And it was just that little bit of contact. The car just speared sideways slightly, and that was that. And there we see just the aftermath of it starting to happen as Mark Smith made contact with the car. He clipped the car as it was on the line, I think, and then that speared it up into Brett Campbell. So Smith's just got caught out a little bit by the cars checking up in front of him, and he just jinked to the side, did not see Bratka there. And that was a big one. So just gotta say that was a bit of a racing incident there, because you saw Brack just got that little bit wobbly out the corner, and just such a tricky accident there between it all. But big shame for Russell Bratka, who was having such a good night out there, Mark.
Yeah, he was, and unfortunately for him, this place is a place that will bite, and we can see the pictures there of Bratka's car, both rear damage done, and no front. So that's definitely not over for that SRM USA team. Unfortunate for those guys. Steve's not had a good run so far this year. Last week he got taken out, and again this week involved in an incident too. So unfortunate for him. That's happened, and it looks like Jamie Nankervis stayed out. No, he did come in. So yeah. Jamie's done well. He's been able to get out and take the race lead.
I think Jamie might be a lap. He's down in the wave around position.
Yeah, the timing's just clicked over. Yeah, he's actually sitting down in 23rd. So Nick Bottrell's the only one that didn't come into pit lane. But as I say that, he's in pit lane now.
So Jamie was unfortunate because he'd just come in for a stop just as that incident was starting to happen. So he had just decided to make a pit stop then, and then the caution flag came out and just caught him off guard.
Well, he's been lucky. He hasn't been sent to the back yet, so I'd say he will get the lucky dog.
I think he's going to get the wave around. So yeah, he came out in front of the field, I think. So he's got the wave around at least, but still going to be a just a little bit of a painful moment for Jamie, unfortunately, because he was running it up inside the top 10 before that incident. I've just been looking through as well, and Brett Campbell has somehow managed to pretty much remain unscathed after that incident. I think maybe he's got a bit of damage to the roof, but nothing major. Same goes for Mark Smith. It was just the lightest of taps on the front of that car to Bradker, but it just launched him up towards Campbell. And the cars that made contact, they've sort of gotten away relatively scot-free. So pretty lucky there for those two drivers.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the pictures, Mark Smith's car definitely looks okay. Brett Campbell sitting right behind him, definitely no damage there for the aero. So that's good news. Neil Pearson hasn't had a great stop. He's dropped down to 17th position after those stops, but we've seen how much how quick that car is, and we'll look to him coming forward again. We've got the lights out on the pace car, so we will go back green racing this time by.
Well, indeed. So Neil Pearson was stationary for about 40 seconds in the lane, so maybe just getting some repairs done after just giving that wall a kiss. So just getting that car back to ship-shape condition as they link up with each other, getting ready for the restart zone. Dyson and Jones absolutely side by side. Dyson waiting to hear the same shift as they get to the restart zone, and away they go. And Ryan Jones absolutely got that one perfect, launching himself away into the lead of this race. Andrew Dyson up high has got Carl Niebler just behind him at the moment. Stevie Dub on the inside lane as we get back to racing here at Las Vegas. 221 laps remaining here tonight. We have got plenty of action still to come, ladies and gentlemen, so keep your eyes peeled, keep tuned in, and get ready for some fantastic oval racing, some fantastic stock car racing here on Checkered Flag e-streaming.
Needler been able to get clear of Williams, and still takes up third position. But out the front, we still got Jones. He got a blistering start from that last green flag, and got the real jump on Dyson.
Yeah, watch out for Needler. He was fast in the opening stages last time around. It looks like that car switches its tyres on very, very quickly and has some really good speed in the early stage of the stint. Then just falls away a little bit in the mid stage, but then picks it back up towards the end again. So just that thing of different setups coming into play. And that's the whole different ball game with open setups, isn't it, Mark? You end up with cars that are good at different stages of the race. Of course, they can also tweak the car in the pit lane, things like tyre pressure and also the bumps, the amount of movement for the suspension travel. They can tweak those little bits in the pit stops, and that can make a huge difference on an oval track. Just a little change in tyre pressure can be the difference between a loose car, a tight car, or a fast car, or a slow car.
Yeah, definitely. And we see both those cars, two of those cars that were involved in. Oh, Brett Campbell getting loose there. I was just going to say, two of those cars that were involved with Russell back up in that lead group. Brett Campbell there, now up in the sixth position, with Wayne Van Buren on the outside of him, looking to take that sixth spot away. Those cars definitely look like there's no damage on them, and if there is, it's definitely not having any outcome on the performance car.
It's not seeming to be affecting them all that much at the moment. Another driver that had a bit of a bad stop was Ruben Phelps. He's dropped down the order as Carl Needler there just taking the lead of the race from Ryan Jones. Moved himself up into the lead. Little bit of bumping just as they come through. But they keep themselves in a good spot as Edward Foster getting into just getting a bit of contact with, I didn't quite see who it was, I think it might have been Mackie Beale, just making a little bit of side-by-side contact, and again heavy damage to that Atari car on the right front. So some damage there. Meanwhile, up at the front, Needler and Dyson are battling it out, so we'll keep our eyes on the front because this pack has just got absolutely alive. and the race is, well, it is getting very, very hectic all of a sudden, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. And we see Jones take the lead back. Dyson in the third, Needler in the third, Dyson in the second, Needler in the third, but battling out with Smith. We might keep our cameras on that because that's the battle at the moment for third place. A little bit of the touch. Campbell up there now deciding to join in, and he touches the wall.
Couple of big scrapes there from Needler and Campbell, and they've kept the cars running in the straight line, but you do not want to do that too often. You're only going to get away with it a couple of times. Eventually you are going to get caught out by it, and it will be very, very nasty when it happens. So the fighting is still going on. Up the front, Ryan Jones back into the lead with Dyson and Smith. The cars have settled out a little bit in this pack. I was actually looking a bit further back in the field where there is a ton of knife fighting going on. Adam Ariel, Nick Bratelli, Tristan Koch, Noddy Tompkins, all fighting hard at the moment. Maddie Ray in front of them as well. They are really battling hard back here, chasing down, well, trying to keep up and chase down at the same time Ruben Phelps and Neil Pearson. Neil Pearson and Ruben Phelps both having long stops. They were both stationary for about 40 odd seconds. So that dropped them down the field if you're wondering where they went to. So they've got to work their way right back to the front again. And speaking of the front, we've got Mark Smith coming up to try and put them under pressure with Brett Campbell. Brett Campbell getting a run on the low line, Mark Smith on the midline at the moment. And then they have Dyson in front of them and Stevie Dubb behind him. Stevie Dubb looking like he was thinking about a free wide moment there. He was not afraid to take advantage of that if the opportunity arose, and this battle is becoming very entertaining here.
Yeah, definitely is. Sorry, Carl, you just caught me just as I took a mouthful of drink, and yeah, it's definitely DPR versus the rest of the field tonight. So Jones looking to get a second win. So we can see these guys now. Just Jones just settling down out front. Dyson's just sitting off a little bit, but Campbell and Smith definitely want to get up into that second position.
Yeah, they are putting all kinds of pressure on the front runners here, keeping themselves up at the top of the field and seeing what they can do. And they are doing all kinds of things to try and work out where they're going to be strong, where they're going to be weak. And all as they fight behind them, Ryan Jones is sitting there in the lead going, yeah, I'm happy about this. You guys keep fighting and running some alternate lines. I'm just going to run the lines I want and not burn my tyres off too quickly. Looking back a little bit at the moment, Ruben Phelps is also charging his way through the field. The Flying Kiwi is on fire at the moment, siving his way through the pack, moving himself up into 9th position. It could well be 8th position at the end of this one as he fights it out with Tom Williams. As one quantum car gets past, another quantum car gets past somebody up at the front. Brett Campbell getting past Andrew Dyson, moving himself up into 2nd position here. Campbell absolutely flying after he had that close miss with the flying Russell Bratka there, who very almost made that Quantum Ford Mustang into a convertible after that huge crash. But they are flying up there nicely at the moment, and Campbell is starting to put a bit of pressure on to Ryan Jones.
Yeah, we've seen Campbell have some great results in the past, but we've also seen him have some terrible results. So it's good to see him finally settle down and really starting to use some of his knowledge that he's picked up over the last 3 years racing in the ovals. And he's definitely on a charge here. So down low, trying to stay there.
He's keeping to that low line at the moment, not quite being able to make the pass, and it's just cost him a little bit of momentum. This could be a chance for Dyson to get past, but Campbell gets a beautiful run through the corner. He can just slide up here. He's going to be able to slide up in front of Jones. Just hesitates for a second, loses that chance to slide up in front of the 11. Just has to be that little bit more decisive and slide up in front of that car. Now he's got it. He's got into a good position. He just needs to get a good run off the corner now. Keep himself ahead of Jones. And, oh, he's just made it to the line. So Brett Campbell will get himself a bonus point there for a lap led. So that is an all-important bonus tick for the night for Brett Campbell. But he's not letting these DPR cars run away. Same for Mark Smith. He's keeping himself up there, battling it nicely. A little bit further back, we've got Carl Needler. Carl Needler leading the charge with Van Billion and Ruben Phelps. So that group wants to try and close in on the leaders, but they're about 2 seconds behind at the moment. So quite a long way to make up. As we move into lap 64, soon to be 65, we are getting close to just 200 laps remaining here tonight at Las Vegas. A enduring race, this one. It's going to be, it's going to take some of the drivers to their limits as well. It's a long old race, this one, and there's a lot of action inside these cars as well. They're not planted, they're not settled. You have to do a lot of wheel work to keep them in the right spot. It is a very much a hard-working circuit out there in these cars. Nobody will be able to relax and take a breather, unfortunately, for them, as much as I'm sure they would want to.
Yeah, it's definitely hard work on this track. We might jump on board Dyson where he's battling with Campbell and go for a lap or two with him. We might just go quiet, Carl, and let the spectators or the viewers just watch how much work is actually being done in these cars.
And as we saw there on board with Andrew Dyson, he's just made his way past Brett Campbell, and so does Stevie Dubb, just getting a bit of a run now. And we saw this last time. These SRM cars, these DPR cars are pretty mighty at this stage of the run, and it's coming back to them now. The speed is, well, it is scary fast on slightly worn tyres. They're able to just get some really good pace in these cars. And wear the tyres down nice and evenly by the looks of things. So they are up there in the lead of this this chasing pack at the moment. But Mark Smith is not wanting to let them get away. Neither is Brett Campbell, as Ryan Jones just has a big tank slapper going through 1 and 2. Just caught the apron a little bit, and that's going to give Andrew Dyson the opportunity to get down the inside of the 11 and move his way up into the front. Stevie Dubb there as well, putting him under pressure as these two fight out at the front. The rest of the pack is starting to close in slowly but surely, led by Ruben Phelps. gap down to about 1.6 seconds from the lead now for Ruben, and he's got Neil Pearson tucked in right behind him too. So we're expecting to see some more cars heading up here towards the front. Remember, the SRM cars were able to hold it with the DPR cars in the latter stages of that first stint, and did a great job of keeping the pace with them. So this could be an opportunity for Ruben Phelps here tonight to get himself into a solid position for this race. But he needs to get past a lot of cars to get himself to the front, and that's not going to be no easy task.
No, and right behind Phelps, we see Pearson there, just sitting back now, taking some time to regroup and back up into the top 10 after he's dropping down down to the high teens. But he's definitely got some speed back in that car late in the session.
Yeah, some of these cars coming alive in the latter stages of the stint. Some of them very good early on, and look, that's good information for the end of the race as well. We know the DPR cars are quick, but maybe not as quick as some of the others in the early starts of a stint. So if we get a late caution, could be an opportunity for somebody to really take advantage of that and put these guys under pressure. Not that they aren't under pressure at the moment, because they are being gapped by the field. The gap is coming down for the rest of the field. It's slowly closing in, and that is going to put a lot of angry cars on their tail. As you see Ruben Phelps here on screen at the moment with Pearson. They're closing the gap beautifully, just absolutely doing a great job of getting closer and closer with each lap to these front runners, and trying to get themselves into a position where they can get to the end, hopefully up at the front of the field.
Yeah, just looking at some of the comments tonight here, Doc Hollywood, Brian Massa has tuned in, and he says picked Noddy Tompkins for the race win. So we'll see what happens there.
Noddy had a really strong night in the ANSCAR series on Thursday, working his way up through the field. Just got caught in a last minute incident, unfortunately dropping him outside of the top 5. So he's had a decent week so far, just maybe not the luck coming into play for him. So tonight could be the opportunity that he needs to move himself up towards the front of the field.
And one person we haven't spoken about tonight is Norman Clark, gentleman sim racer, sitting there just outside the 10 in 13th position. So good to see him coming through. Two spots behind him is his team boss, Jamie Nankervis. Good to see Jamie recovering after dropping down to the rear of the field, now up into his 17th position, looking to change his luck and not get mixed up in anything, looking to stay clean through this race. So the Toyotas are definitely coming back, Carl, which you'd be happy with.
Absolutely, it's always a good sign. Just on Jamie Nankervis, remember he made that stop about 2 laps before everybody else and got caught out with the caution flag. He managed to keep on the lead lap, but does mean he's out of sequence with everybody else. So he's got about 2 less laps of fuel on board in that car. So he's going to have to stop before everybody else. So he'll be a little bit of an outrigger for us, a bit of an outlying driver, so we can get an idea of when everybody else will probably need to come in to stop. So we'll keep an eye on Nankervis, see when he pulls it into the lane, and that should be a good indicator of when everybody else will come in. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ryan Jones still in the lead, but now Neil Pearson has worked his way up to the front, sives his way past Andrew Dyson, pushing himself up to the front, and now Neil Pearson trying to get the lead over Ryan Jones and get himself up into a solid position. Really good racing here up at the front of the field. Mark Smith doing a great job of holding on to the back of this DPR pack at the moment. Ruben Phelps trying to close in as well. He's just a little bit off the back of these cars now, so he's sort of in some relatively clean air. No real aid of the draft for him in, so to say, in that sort of spot, but also he's not getting some hot dirty air over the car, so should feel relatively comfortable in that spot. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we've got Tom Williams, Carl Needler, and Wayne Van Billion battling it out on track. Maxi Marshall having a fantastic run tonight as well. Up 17 spots, the 24 up into a good, strong position. And it would be great to see this car having a solid run. Maxi Marshall not having the best of luck sometimes, but is having a very solid run here tonight and well into the top 10 after starting right towards the back of the field. So a really strong drive from Maxi tonight.
And still back up front, we've still got 4 DPR cars just changing positions every couple of laps. Neil Pearson, Ryan Jones, Dyson Williams, and Mark Smith now just falling off the back of that 4. These guys have really got these DPR cars tuned up tonight, and they're definitely, that looks like the 4 to beat.
Absolutely. Just looking at lap times last time round, all 4 DPR cars were in the low 30-second bracket, 30.2, 30.2, 30.0, 30.1 for that group of cars. When you look back, it's about a 30.5 for the rest of the field. So you can see why they're starting to build a gap here. They are absolutely flying, and the tyre wear is just, it's wearing nicely for them to a point where they're not losing too much time. They're able to just have a little bit more time in hand and make it work for them. And all 4 of them are pretty evenly matched as well, you've got to say. Stevie Dub just sitting back there, happy to let the others fight as he watches on. But he is well in striking distance of the other 3 cars as well. So this team could have some fun racing ahead of them once they get towards the checkered flag. If all 4 of them can be linked up still, who can be the best DPR car? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, definitely. And still only 2 retirements tonight, Carl. Russell Bratko, as we've seen, a heavy accident there early on, and Steve Hoppert has taken his car behind the fence. So 25 cars still out there running around. Unfortunately for Luke Georgeson, he's now back in pit lane and he is 10 laps down. Ed Foster having a run back. He fell to 10 laps down, and he's been able to pick up 2 laps. So he's now only 8 laps down. So not a good night for the Godfather, but it's good to see him out there and rotating and getting some points tonight. He's admitted to me, he's not going to do a lot of races. He's going to pick and choose. So we know he's got some strong tracks coming up a little bit later on, so that he are his favourites. So he'll definitely be looking at doing a few more races with us.
Just jumping back to the front of the field, Andrew Dyson just gave the wall a massive clobber coming out of turn number 4. He's not looking like it's looking like he got away with it, but the side of that car is a little bit scraped up. He sort of got lucky in the fact he just managed to hit the non-essential parts of the car, but you don't want to do that too often because eventually that will end up hurting you. And yeah, it's still tricky out there for all of these guys. Even this DPR car that is looking absolutely planted at the moment is not the easiest of things to drive.
No, definitely not. So we're now into 47, 46 laps into the stint. Jamie Nankervis is where is he?
17th position at the moment.
So he's done 49. So look at him coming down pit lane in the next 10 laps. If our little spies have been honest with us tonight and told us the true fuel numbers, but we have been caught out by our little spy that runs up and down pit lane.
Absolutely. A little bit further back, we've got Mark Smith and Ruben Phelps battling it out with Carl Needler. Needler having a solid run tonight. That car is absolutely working well for him. The VSK car is definitely fast. He took pole position, remember. And as I said, it seems to drop off in the middle of the stint, but then it comes back to him in the latter stages. So that car is coming back now, and it's got some real strong pace. Needler sort of about a tenth faster than the sort of cars around him at the moment. He is really doing well. The leaders are still sitting in the 30.2s, 30.3 range. Everybody else in about 30.8, 30.9 range. So the leaders are starting to stretch away with it a bit, but they're not letting go just yet. These guys are still trying to keep up with them and still trying to battle it out for a good finishing spot for this race. We still have 175 laps remaining, so a long way until we see the checkered flag dropping. And as always in motorsport, anything can happen.
So just bring up the race info at the moment, Carl. We've had 13 lead changes already, not even halfway through the race, and 6 individual leaders. Three caution laps for 1 caution. So some great racing here tonight from Vegas, and I think we're going to see, even though at the moment DPR out in front with the top 4 spots, I think we're going to see a pretty good end to the race if we get another caution.
I'm intrigued to see what Needler can do here. Now he's got a bit of free air. He's just got past Ruben Phelps, and I want to see the pace of that car without having to battle, because I reckon Needler has actually got the opportunity to start closing this gap. That car is looking relatively fast still, so we'll see if he can get a nice clean lap without having to battle it out too much with anybody around him. But Ruben Phelps is not going to let him run away with it at the moment, so we'll keep putting pressure on him. Up the front, they're still in the sort of low 30s, low 30.2, 30.3 range. We'll see what Needler can do this time round and see if he can actually close that gap a little bit. So this is going to be my interest to me as he crosses the line. 30.5. So he's sitting in the 30.5s. The guys behind him are sort of a little bit slower in the 30.7s and 30.6s. So Needler has still got some really good pace underneath him. As these 4 cars are absolutely linked nose to tail. It's almost like they've got a bit of fishing line between them all, Mark. So as we can see, Dyson up in the lead ahead of Neil Pearson with Ryan Jones and Stevie Dubb. Stevie Dubb just still holding back there, not worrying too much. He's just happy to let it rest at the moment and see what he can do. But he is starting to close in on Ryan Jones. So this battle is very much for team superiority, and every one of these drivers will want to be the winning teammate, of course. In motorsport, the first person you've got to beat is your teammate, of course, but you also have to work with them, of course, to get the cars set up and ready to go. Just noticed Tristan Koch has decided to bring it into the lane, and I think that's going to be a stop for the 550. Right goes up, left goes up, and back out he will go. 54 laps into this stint, so a little bit on the lower side, but he's managed to get it back out, and he'll have some nice fresh tyres. Might be able to close some gaps up here and see what he can do. We've got Matthew Beale coming into the lane now as well, and pit stops are starting to happen slowly but surely throughout the field. Nankervis doing a good job of extending his stint. We'll see how long it is until that car has to come into the lane, of course.
Just rotating down there in 17th position, just nice and easy. He'll definitely be looking for another caution to come out. I just got caught out as we seen in that last stop in pit lane as that last caution come out. So look at Jamie to just keep motivating. He's up near the top in the points at the moment. So just wanting to get some good points from tonight's race.
see what he can do here. And you can see there, Tristan Koch, he's got those fresh tyres on. He's going to be much, much quicker. Brett Campbell pulling it into the lane and just having a little bit of a lock-up, I think. But he has managed to get it slowed down in time. He just got up on the apron, almost lost it coming into the lane, but Brett Campbell doing a good job of saving it and getting it into the pit lane. So he's going to get some fresh tyres, and all the Quantum cars are in. So Ariel Allen, Brett Campbell, Phil Butler, Martin Pedersen into the lane. So quite a few cars coming in for this time. We're going to see more cars coming in next time round, as Maxi Marshall's going to be pulling it into the lane. As he locks up coming into the lane and misses the entry, has to chuck it into reverse, and I think luckily he'll get away with that without a penalty, but only just. That's going to be a painful stop for Maxi Marshall. All those positions gained are going to be dropped with the time lost from that mistake coming into pit road. And it's so easy to make a mistake coming into the pit lane here. You're coming in at a fairly vast rate of knots. They don't tend to use your brakes much at Las Vegas, so they tend to be a little bit cold. You might give them a little tap here and there, but the tyres are down, the tyres are worn out. It's very easy to have a mistake. Ryan Jones pulling it into the lane with the rest of DPR stick it out. So DPR are not using the same pit strategy here, so that is interesting. The team are not all going to come in together.
Now, we've seen in the past, Carl, when this happens, guys get caught out, and it looks like Dyson's in. Williams stays out. Pearson's in. Dyson gets very wiggly on the pit lane. He may be lucky. He may have got away with that one because he was locked up as he come past that yellow cone.
I think he just got away with it. Noddy Tompkins and Adam Ariel both have been pinged for pit lane infringements and got themselves a penalty, unfortunately. Looks like Dyson may have gotten away with that one just about. And I said watch out for Stevie Dubb, because he was just happily sitting back there, not pushing too hard with the rest of the DPR cars. And he's just extended his stint by an extra lap. So that could come in handy for the 98 of Stevie Dubb as this race goes on. Remember, we've still got 161 laps. Mark Smith pulling it into the lane now as well. Everybody's made their pit stops now. But Stevie Dubb and Mark Smith both extended a little bit, so they'll have an extra lap or so of fuel now to get them into the next stage of this race. And every little helps in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking back. Ed Foster. Now, we spoke about him. We've seen him into the wall twice. Some heavy damage. But Carl, he's come from 10 laps down, now back to 5 laps down. So with 160 laps still to go, I wouldn't even count him out for the race win.
He's still 10 laps down, Mark.
Okay, it's showing 5 laps.
9 laps down. He's 5 laps behind Adam Ariel, so that's what it is. It's the gap between himself and Adam Ariel. So he's still 9 laps off the lead, but he's closing in on Adam Ariel a little bit, who unfortunately had a penalty in the lane. Meanwhile, up the front, Dyson, Jones and Pearson have linked up with each other. Stevie Dubb has dropped about 5 seconds to the lead pack, so he's fallen off a little bit here as those guys have come out on fresh tyres and have started lapping, and Stevie Dubb just losing a little bit of time down the lane. So we have got a very tight battle up the front between these 3 cars at the moment. Stevie Dubb could be in a good spot as well. Don't forget, he managed to extend his stint a little bit, so he'll have a little bit more fuel to play with in this next run to get them to around about 100 laps to go, and maybe 2 more stops left in this race should we go green from for the next few laps. So we are cruising along at a good pace at the moment. And up the front, it's still those DPR cars in the lead. Andrew Dyson against Ryan Jones and Neil Pearson. Down in the 29s now, and they're back up to original pace on those fresher tyres and enjoying their run up at the front of the field. So we'll see how this one goes. They've got on their tail one of the Valve cars, and that's Jamie Nankervis, who's just gone down a lap. So Jamie's going to try and stick with these cars and keep himself in the lucky dog position if he can. So that's going to be the next crucial thing of the race. So it's going to be a all-important run to the flag here. See who can make this one work, who can make this one come out, and who can get this to the end of the race with a victory. But you got to say at the moment it's looking good for DPR. Stevie Dub closing in on this pack as well. He's trying to close that gap back up, and he is managing it slowly but surely. So we could see the 4 DPR cars linked up once more. The next car that is not part of the DPR team is Carl Needler, having a solid run in 5th position with Ruben Phelps in 6th, 7th Mark Smith, Matty Ray, Tom Williams and Norman Clark sitting there in the group. So, as we tick down the laps, we're just looking through the field. We've lost Steve Hoppett, unfortunately, from the race. Looks like Luke Georgeson won't be heading out again, 82 laps down. Russell Bracker out of the race as well, taking it behind the wall. Only the 3 cars lost. We still have Edward Foster running 9 laps off the lead. Adam Ariel 4 laps down with Martin Pedersen 2 laps off the lead. We've got Noddy Tompkins a single lap down with Matthew Beale, Tristan Koch, Justin Allen, Philip Butler and Jamie Nankervis. That is the cars that are currently just a lap off the lead, and they'll be hoping that maybe a caution flag might come their way to get themselves back onto the lead lap and get themselves back into the race. So we'll see how this one pans out for all these drivers.
Yeah, it's still going to be a long race for those guys that are a lap down. Jamie definitely, as you said, Carl, wants to stay on the back of Pearson to stay in that lucky dog position.
Yeah, he's going to want to stay in that position and keep himself nice and tucked into these guys. And it shows he's got pace in that Valve car. We know that it's quick, but he just got caught out with that first caution. So he's hoping that it will be nice and, well, in a nice position to actually get himself on the lead lap if we do get a caution flag.
Yeah, the way the guys are strung out a little bit, well, I don't think there's going to be much chance of it. However, we know these races are long, and it only takes a slight lack of concentration, and we'll see someone make a slight mistake, and we'll end up with another caution. Just looking at Norman Clark here, trying to battle with Brett Campbell. That Toyota's definitely got it over that Mustang at the moment, down the inside into turn 1.
Nice move there from the wily veteran Norman Clark on Brett Campbell and gets himself up into the top 10 here. And not a surprise, because that car is quick. That Valve Esports Toyota is absolutely flying at the moment and really pushing on well. And, well, I mean, we could see another Japanese brand in the top line of stock car racing on ovals soon, Marks, if things are to be believed.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of talk at the moment of a Honda coming in. Who and who with who? Everyone's seems to be pointing the finger at Stewart Racing, Tony Stewart there. We know he's leaving Ford the end of next year, so maybe they may come in. But there's also talk again of Stewart hooking up with Mopar with Dodge.
Interesting stuff indeed. It would be great to see another Japanese brand out there showing the Americans how it's done, making a V8 properly. I'll wait for all the hate mail to roll in. Meanwhile, Tyson just getting past Martin Pedersen there and putting him down a second lap. So they are starting to sieve their way through this field as we've had this big long green flag period, and we're starting to see cars just falling down a lap or 2 laps here as they are closing in very quickly on the back of Maxi Marshall, and that's for 15th position at the moment. So the sun starts to set here in the Nevada desert. We will be heading in tonight for the city that never sleeps, Las Vegas, here for the Lucas Oil's 2024 Championship of the Aussie Outlaws Series, brought to you on Checkered Flag e-streaming, of course. If you can give the channel a quick subscribe, a like, and all of those things that we have to say, it does help the old algorithm and it helps us know that we are doing the correct job. Big thank you to all the viewers out there tonight as well. Always a pleasure to have you with us for these races. If we did not have you watching, we would not be doing it. So always a pleasure to have you with us for these races. And, well, long old races they are, Mark, of course, but we are seeing some great action this season.
Yeah, sorry, Carl. I just had me had my mic on mute, so I was talking away, and yeah, nothing was coming across. So I do apologise. I wasn't ignoring you. Just a bit of a technical issue, my end.
I'm sure that's the case, Mark. Excuses. I know the truth.
Yeah, look, no long races this year, as we said at the start of the season. The guys all voted on it, and they've all voted to do 100% race distance this year. So interesting. The other thing was, of course, gone to open setup this year, and that was another one that was voted on by the drivers. So we're here to give them what they would like to race, and yeah, so it's interesting. Coming up next week, we're off to that terrible place in another desert over in Phoenix for the Phoenix 300.
Yeah, off to Arizona, and the Cactus will be busy watching over the track. Meanwhile, Norman Clark's on a bit of a charge, as he often is at this stage of the race. Look, these longer races suit Norman Clark down to a T, because he's able to keep a car running at maximum efficiency for a long period, and he's just got past Matty Ray, another driver that is a dab hand of long races and coming good at the end. But Norman Clark is absolutely thriving in this sort of environment, and he is getting himself up some nice positions. Next on his list is Mark Smith, so he's going to try and close that gap down to the number 07 and see if he can get himself up into a good spot. The only thing we're missing right now is a 0.8 because we've got a 0.6, a 0.7 and a 0.9 all in a row at the moment. So we're just missing out on that 0.8, damn it. So if anybody wants to run a 0.8, please please apply and come race with us as long as you can hold formation with the rest of your 0 numbers.
That's it. And if anyone is interested in racing with the Aussie Outlaws, head to the webpage www.aussieoutlaws.com, and all the information updated, race results and everything, links to race results and nomination forms, rule books and everything. Be good to see you out here racing. You do need a B class license though to race with the Outlaws, so by all means come along and jump in and come race with us.
Absolutely, and if you're worried about trying to work yourself up to a B-class license, do not. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It takes a little bit of persistence, but if somebody like me can actually manage to get a B license, then I'm sure anybody can do it. Oh, Ryan Jones just having a big snap there as they were just getting past one of the Quantum cars. Was that
Brett Campbell?
Yeah, just ran up, I think, and just made contact with Brett Campbell. The car just sliding out the corner, and Jonesy just slid up into Brett Campbell. Great save there by Quick Hands Jones, and a very nice job of keeping that car on track. No major damage to either of those cars. That was quick reaction timing indeed, and saved both of their races. So they continue chugging along.
Just it's just that lull of the race at the moment. You know, we're in that holding pattern where everyone just needs to buy that ticket to that last 40 laps of the race. And we'll see at least another two pit stops between now and the checkered flag.
We will indeed. We've just ticked over half race distance, as you can probably tell by our voices starting to crack a little bit, as we are desperately in need of getting some more water down our gullets as we continue on this race. But they are chugging along at a good rate of knots, and everybody's keeping the cars in a good position. We're not seeing we're seeing a couple of little moments creeping in, but nothing major yet. And that could be good news for the rest of the drivers. Mark Smith, Ruben Phelps battling out here for 6th and 7th position at the moment. Carl Needler just managing to get a nice lead over these two. But these two fighting it out on track once more. And this is a important battle because the more they battle, it's going to help Norman Clark close the gap. So Norman's going to be watching this from behind. And you might just see him at the top of the picture. There he is coming in at the top of the picture there. He's seeing this battle and going, yeah, you boys keep fighting, and I will just come along and pick up the pieces. So they're all starting to make their moves through the field as they start to think about that second to last pit stop, of course. They need to go at about another 30 laps here to make it just one more stop. Might see some people coming in around about 105 laps to go. Actually, no, they won't, because it's 260, isn't it? So 267 laps. Oh no, they will. So sorry, I'm doing maths in my head, talking to myself there. So you might see some drivers coming in just with about 25 laps to try and get an early stop, try and get some slightly fresher tyres and take advantage of that, and then they can make it to the end of the race. So it's going to be it's not going to be too tight to make it home from here. But you have to time that pit stop to perfection.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up to date with the messages that are coming in to me. So yeah, sorry. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys do stop. Some of them may try and stretch this out as far as they can. Although the field is very strung out, and when you're strung out like you are, you tend to use a little bit more fuel than what you would like. So just have to wait and see where it happens and what happens.
Some great races going on up at the front as well between Jones and Pearson. They are battling it out on track at the moment, and they might be teammates, but they are not holding back any blows as Neil Pearson moves his way up into second. A very, very busy night for Neil Pearson behind the wheel. He's had to make his way through the field twice tonight and is still up in this lead pack, so it just shows how much speed he's got in that car. Stevie Dubb sitting back in fourth position at the moment. A little bit lonely. Not too much going on in his car. He's got a fairly safe spot. He's about 5 seconds behind the leaders and about 7 seconds. No, more than that. Sorry, about 12 seconds ahead of Carl Needler, just behind him. Carl Needler having a fantastic run tonight after that pole position, showing this car has got a great pace in the early stage of a stint and in the latter stage of the stint. He is sitting in a very strong fifth position, a bit of a lonely position at the moment because he's got Mark Smith and Ruben Phelps behind him, a good couple of seconds back, about 2.7 seconds back behind him at the moment. Those two still battling a little bit, but not nearly as much as they were before. So they are currently sort of trying to figure out what they want to do in that fight. A little bit further back in 8th position, we have Norman Clark, and Matty Ray is starting to close in on him now. So Matty Ray has decided it's go time. He is going to get that car up to speed and see what he can do here to get this car up in front of Norman Clark as he goes down the inside and makes the move. The SRM car now coming alive after it's done. About 37 laps into this stint, so Matty Ray been saving a little bit of pace in that car and is now taking advantage of it. Tom Williams sitting back there in 10th position, currently the car sitting in 10th spot, having another solid run as well. This 22 has been having some great races recently and is sitting up there with just to the outside of Phil Butler, who is currently a lap down. Working with each other and helping each other as teammates, but not quite on the lead lap. And they've got Edward Foster just behind them in the Atari car, still 9 laps off the lead. Well, it's going to be even harder to get back on those lead laps now, as most of the field are a lap down.
Yeah, definitely. Where the leaders have been able to lap up to the guy, Tom Williams, Norman Clark now in 10th place. So Norman is still the last car on the lead lap. Then everyone down to 18th position. Phil Butler is a lap down. Noddy Tompkins, Matthew Beale, Tristan Koch are 2 laps down. Martin Peterson, Adam Ariel, and everyone further down, as you said, Carl. So DPR are really showing these guys how to drive tonight. But no matter where they go, they are always a force to be reckoned with, and some of the best drivers in Australia and New Zealand.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say, Jones has now dropped 2 seconds off the back of Pearson. So I say his tyres are done and dusted. So he's still got 20 laps left on this tank of fuel. So maybe we'll see him duck in and try and pick up a fresh set of rubber. As I said, they do have 8 sets of tyres available to them tonight. So this place is one place where you definitely want some fresh rubber on those wheels as much as possible.
Yeah, the fresh tyres really help on a track like this, and it's also important to get the cars in a good position and good good places as well. So Neil Pearson and Dyson at the moment just absolutely showing their class as well. And they race in a lot of leagues and a lot of different racing series as well. And I know they do quite a few open setup racing as well nowadays. And it really shows when you've got a good team behind you, just how that helps that little bit, getting that setup absolutely perfect. Even without a perfect setup, though, you know that Dyson and Pearson would be battling up towards the front of the field. Same with Jones and Stevie Dub as well. That all four of those drivers absolutely hard to beat on an oval racing, and even circuit racing. They are absolutely fast drivers. But when they've got this setup absolutely dialed in as well, they are going to be some of the hardest drivers in the world to beat, you've got to say.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen Dyson take a championship last year over an Anscar, a hard battle between Pearson and Foster last year. Some good races and not so good races. We have seen things go terribly wrong for this team, where they bump each other and that's the nature of their racing. Very hard against each other. Probably harder than the rest of the field. They race each other because they want to stand superior over their teammate, and we have seen things go terribly wrong with both of these guys here take each other out, and just by an off rub or a wrong bump, and it can go very wrong.
Very easy to do, and you can see now Dyson coming up behind Edward Foster, and he's starting to close in on Tom Smith. Sorry, Tom Williams, Norman Clark, and Matty Ray now. So this is 8th, 9th, and 10th about to go a lap down. Just in front of them as well, they've got Matty Ray and Norman Clark battling hard against each other too. Those two fighting hard once more. Norman Clark coming back now at Matty Ray, and 09 getting back to pace. And they are flying at the moment. And as they're battling, of course, they don't have to move out the way for the leaders. There's no blue flags in oval racing. There's no get out the way of the lead cars. Lapped cars are entitled to take the lines they want. And when you're racing side by side, you generally do not think about the leader's positioning. You think about your positioning and where you want to be. So is this going to just put a little bit of a stopper in the advance of the leaders here, as these two are fighting it out on different lines? Or will we see Dyson take advantage of this and just break the gap to Neil Pearson? Maybe Neil Pearson take advantage of this and get past Andrew Dyson, which he's looking to do now, as Pearson gets a great run up on the high line, gets himself ahead of Andrew Dyson here as they are battling it out behind Norman Clark and Matty Ray. Pearson takes that midline, gets there. Andrew Dyson now on the low line as they go 3 wide across the tri-oval, as Matty Ray up on the high line. He'll just lift off a little bit now as those leaders have gone through, but he has to be careful of Tom Williams, who's taken advantage of that and gotten past Norman Clark. So beautiful traffic work there from everybody, just taking advantage of drivers as they go through. And we've got Stevie Dub in the lane. So this is interesting. This is telling me they're not going to be able to get to the end with just one more stop, so we might need to see a splash and dash here.
Yeah, definitely. And then also, Carl, depends if we get overtime too. Don't forget, we got 3 overtime tries here. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. If we do get any overtime, I say we will see just about the whole field down pit lane for a splash and dash.
Absolutely. Ryan Jones in the lane as well. So those two trying something different, trying to get the fresher tyres and see if they can actually close in on Dyson and Pearson with the slight fresh tyre advantage, I wonder. So interesting little strategy call there from the other two DPR drivers. Carl Niegler is also going to be coming into the lane this time as well. So we're starting to see these pit stops happening, and well, they're going to want to extend as much as possible. I thought Stevie Dub would have been the last driver to pit, because he managed to extend that stint beautifully last time round, but he's decided to try something different here, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely has. I'm just wondering now that we're watching these pit stops if we're going to see a caution, because every time in these races we seem to watch pit stops, we get some action out on track. So let's hope we can we get through this without a caution period. And this is the time when we normally see a caution. You know, guys are trying to get on the pit lane as quick as they can and then get service done and get off pit lane. A nice stop there for Needler, 4 tyres and a full tank of fuel.
We could well see some people just being, just really being shy a lap. They might have to do a little bit of saving in this stint, just to get them to the end. We've still got 107 laps remaining here, remember, and they're about 54 laps since the leaders last pitted. So it's going to be interesting to see what people can do. We've got Brett Campbell out there. He's done about 58 laps on this stint, so he's the longest stint length so far. So who can make it to lap 100? Because that means they can make it home with just one more stop without having to save, without having to think about it too much. That's going to be a crucial part. If they can get to, if they can make it about 2 or 3 more laps, they'll be a little bit easier to get home. But if they need to pit sort of right now, they're in a bit of trouble to get themselves to the finishing line. With the fuel they've got. So it's going to be a little bit touch and go if they can make it to just one more stop, I think, for a couple of these drivers. Most will be able to do it, but a couple might have a couple of little question marks next to their name. So we'll see how this one pans out. Maxi Marshall and Brett Campbell into the lanes now. When will we see these two leaders popping in? Because these two cars have been setting the pace as well, and you know they've been absolutely flying out there, and when you're flying you tend to use a little bit more fuel than the cars that are sitting at a little bit of a slower pace.
Keep an eye on these front two at the moment, because they're now coming across to do 58 laps on this stint of fuel. So interesting to see if they can get out to 60 plus laps. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen most of the guys come in on that lap 60 or before. So interesting to see if they can stretch this a little bit.
I think we saw Mark Smith and Stevie Dub make it about 62 last stint. So they just stretched out to about 62 laps last stint. So so it can be done, but it just leaves you a little bit less wriggle room. But these two look pretty set on their fuel now, so they'll be able to make it to the end on just one more stop. So Dyson and Pearson are looking very good for this race. Gotta say, they are in very strong positions. Interested to see where they come out as Dyson pulls it into the lane. Andrew Dyson pitting with Ruben Phelps in front of them, as Neil Pearson sticks it out for one more lap, makes it 60 laps into this stint. So it goes that little bit longer. We've still got Mark Smith, Norman Clark and Matty Ray on track as well. So a few drivers haven't come into the lane just as of yet, but they are stretching as much as they can to make it slightly easier to get home, and also give them a little bit of leftover fuel just in case we get overtime. Neil Pearson sticking it out now, 61 laps. So he's making about 62 laps in this stint. So Pearson has got plenty of fuel up his sleeve now and will be pretty safe to make it home on just one more stop. And if we do get a green white checker mark, Neil Pearson might be in a fantastic position because he might just have enough fuel to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. But don't forget, Carl, we do have 3 attempts at it. And we've seen in the past, Pearson's in this lap with Smith. We have seen in the past guys caution period in that breed cautions. We've seen that in the trucks over on Ian's car on Performance E streaming on Thursday night, where we had 2 attempts at the overtime. So anything can happen in these races, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Noddy Tompkins finding that out to his dismay as he was coming into pit lane. He just caught the apron a little bit and found himself fully sideways coming into the lane, but managed to get it pulled up in time and slowed down. Doesn't look like he's got a penalty. Watch for Ryan Jones here, because he is going to be close to Neil Pearson. So You can see that Dyson's come out with Jones and Stevie Dubb. That lead that they built up over Stevie Dubb and Ryan Jones has evaporated because these two were on much fresher tyres. And look at them sail past Neil Pearson. So that's the difference that fresher tyres make. They've managed to gain a whole heap of positions here thanks to that. But, and this is the big but, they are in a going to be in a deficit as the laps go on. So they're going to start to run out of tyres long before those two, the two that pitted. So as long as they can hold on, they could find themselves back up with a chance of winning. Meanwhile, Ruben Phelps is going to be dropping down a lap here. So that is 5 cars on the lead lap now. Carl Needler, the final non-DPR car on the lead lap. Still running strong. Still has some good pace in that VSK car. And is still the one fly in the ointment for DPR now. If he can just get that gap closed in. He's about 20 seconds off the rest of off the top 4. But if we do get a caution, he's going to be the one that can really take advantage of that.
And also, Carl, he's the only non-Chev in the top 5, so that Mustang doing a great job. All the DPR cars are Chevrolets, so a good night for Chev tonight.
Absolutely, they are very strong here tonight with those DPR badges next to their name. As we see Ryan Jones moving his way past Ruben Phelps, and he's going to want to try and close that gap on Dyson. Dyson on about 9 lap fresher tyres than Ryan Jones. So he's going to have a nice advantage on those tyres and just be able to just spread the gap out a little bit and just extend his lead now, as we've seen Dyson do in the past. It is very hard to beat Andrew Dyson, and he's showing it once more. Can we see Neil Pearson working his way back up towards the front? He's on the freshest tyres of almost anybody. So Neil Pearson is he's going to be trying to close that gap a little bit and see if he can jump up ahead. Of course, we still have one more pit stop to come here tonight. If we go green to the flag, if we see a caution come out, well, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just keeping an eye on the 11 of Jones. He's picked up some damage on that right front, as you can see those pictures there. So that's not going to be helping him at all. That is going to have a big aero effect. I actually didn't see where he picked that up, Carl.
So about lap 170, he was just passing Ruben Phelps, and they just made a little bit of contact on the tri-oval, and that caused that little bit of crumple on the right front of Ryan Jones, who has had some great pace here tonight and is still showing it, second car in the DPR line, but with that little bit of damage, that's going to hurt him a little bit. He also has to defend against Stevie Dubb, which is never an easy task, and Neil Pearson right behind him too. So he's got 2 of some of the hardest racers in Australia right on his tail. Not saying Ryan Jones isn't one of the hardest racers in Australia as well, but this is going to be one heck of an inter-team battle here, as Ryan Jones will want to stick onto that position. But Neil Pearson, with those much fresher tyres, can just take a nice tight line. You can see Mark Smith doing the same as well. He's on a lot fresher tyres too, as they just sail past the 11 of Jones. And that's the drawback of pitting early, Mark, isn't it? You come in early, you get those fresh tyres, you have that great speed, but then everybody else comes in, they get the fresh tyres and they catch up to you very quickly. We see Stevie Dubb looking to make a move, Jones dropping down to defend. So this battle is very much on.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely a battle between DPR tonight. And then it's the rest. Needler still the only other car on the lead lap. You know, people say, oh, but how can they go so many laps down? Well, we've seen tonight, guys, like Jamie Nankervis in that first caution and only caution of the night, get caught out in pit lane as the caution come out. So it's a little bit disappointing, but it's nonetheless we have seen in the real world these races end up with only one car on the lead lap. That was back in the early 80s where at Daytona 500 there was one car left on the lead lap, and that was the race winner. Everyone else was laps down. So, different tracks suit different people. Next week we will definitely see maybe Dave Douglas or Williams there gets very sideways, and that drops him off the back of Jones.
It just goes to show just how quick it can change on an oval. You think you got everything under control, and the car will just catch you out of nowhere. And that's almost what happened to Stevie Dubb there. Good save by himself there, because that would have been nasty if he had gone down into the wall or something like that. Could have even made contact with the teammate there. So, it is the thing, Mark, is you get different tracks suiting different people, and it is the thing, as we say with oval racing, these tracks, they fundamentally look the same. To your average person, every oval is the same track, but they are all so different in how they're laid out. They're all so different in how much camber they've got, how much degree of steering they've got, the texture of the surface, the surfaces. These all make such a difference, and for some drivers, they'll absolutely love a track. For others, they just won't be able to get on with it. And even some of the top drivers here, they will find a track where they can start to just struggle on a little bit and can get caught off guard, as some of the drivers that are sitting further back in the pack tonight are absolutely flying on a track that doesn't suit them. So it is always ebbing and flowing, and it very much can be different. So it is always interesting to see who can get it working and who can't. So we're seeing that at the moment. DPR have absolutely got it working. Watch for Neil Pearson here, because he's closing the gap on Dyson at a huge margin. Last lap, he was about 4 tenths quicker than Dyson. So he is absolutely pushing it to the limit at the moment and putting Dyson under some pressure, as we've got 85 laps remaining here tonight for the Lucas Oils 2024 Aussie Outlaws Series.
Yeah, definitely, Carl. Just back to tracks, we've got these 1.5s ovals. Then we go to some of the smaller ones like Dover, Bristol. Bristol's coming up in a couple of weeks. You'll see such different driving techniques on those smaller tracks. We go to Martinsville, where they have to use their brakes to get into the turns. A lot of them will drag their brakes to help rotate the car. So different people, as you said, different tracks suit different drivers. I know myself, I don't mind the 1.5s or the super speedways, but I'm no good at short tracks in these cars.
The only short track I'm good at is the Milwaukee Mile, and that's it. That's the only track that I'm good at. That and Fontana, both of which are pretty much never on the calendar anymore. It's one of them is being ripped up, unfortunately. It does really, it does show. Some drivers absolutely they can make any track work, and Neil Pearson, Andrew Dyson, those drivers that really can. Ryan Jones as well. They just make any track work, and it really pays off for them. But then you got the specific ones, and these guys are pretty much quick everywhere. And Stevie Dubb now making a move on Ryan Jones and moving his way up into third position as one of the most experienced Aussie oval racers, racing against Ryan Jones at the moment. Stevie Dubb, absolute veteran of this stuff, is putting Ryan Jones under all kinds of pressure. Gets down the inside, gets the move made. Will he slide up in front of his teammate here to get the pass absolutely secure? Doesn't quite have the room to do it. Just leaves it that little bit here. And they're going to be side by side once again. The mean green machine of Stevie Dubb is putting Ryan Jones under all kinds of pressure.
And as he comes out of turn 4, he's been able to get that job done through the tri-oval. Although Jones is not going to take it lying down, we see him trying to come back at him. But that nose damage is definitely hurting his top speed. So you see there, 302, 300. If we jump over to Stevie Williams, we can see fairly close at the moment, but down that back straight, that's where the speed difference will come into it.
Meanwhile, up the front, we've had a change of position for the lead because Neil Pearson has taken back the lead of the race. 23 positions gained in this race, just from his starting spot, but he's overtaken many more cars than that. I think by my count, I think he's had to make probably about in the mid 50s to high 60s of overtakes per position tonight because he's dropped down the field a couple of times. That last pit stop moving him back a little bit. As big clip for the wall. Brett Campbell there in the background just gave that wall a big rub. Looks like the Quantum car is okay at the moment. It's currently sitting in 13th position. But Neil Pearson absolutely on fire here tonight at Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. He was actually lucky to make the field tonight because I didn't realise that he hadn't had an invite to the league. And at 6:15 tonight, he sent me a message. Can I get an invite to the league, please? And it's like, hang on, aren't you a member already? And I went and checked, and yeah, he hadn't. He had not actually been sent an invite. So, lucky to make the field. I was able to get him an invite very quickly.
Just noticed Tristan Koch and Justin Allen have been down the lane, so they're going to need to make one more stop in this race. They came in quite early last time round as well, so they're going to need to make one more stop here, but they're going to try and take advantage of some fresh tyres and see what they can do to the end of the race here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in sunny Nevada. As, who's that up in the wall? It is Matthew Beale giving the wall a big hug, and that Ford Mustang is looking a little bit worse for wear in the Quasi Esports colouring. Teammate to Steve Hoppett, of course, Matthew Beale, and he's taking a little bit of pummeling tonight, new to the Oval Series, but still carrying on and still up there in 18th position, so inside the top 20, all importantly. So we'll see if that can continue as we continue on. Meanwhile, Carl Niegler is about to drop down a lap, and that will be the final car that isn't DPR flavoured, falling off the lead lap here tonight. So we are going to be having, it's looking very good for DPR as soon as Neil Pearson makes this move.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunate for Needler, not being able to hold on. Can't match the pace of Pearson. But just behind, we can see that group there. These guys are a lap down, still racing hard. Only a lap down, so of Phelps, Smith, and I just can't pick up who that Quantum car is there.
That is Phil Butler. Currently down in 17th position. 3 laps off the lead, but still inside the top 20, all importantly.
Yeah, definitely. And now Phelps and Smith are battling for 6th and 7th. So that is a battle that is still live and full position.
Yeah, this battle has been going on for a number of laps as well. This Phelps and Smith battle is, I think it's been going for almost 60 odd laps. They have really been fighting each other hard, constantly swapping positions as Ruben Phelps just gets a little bit twitchy there. That's going to lose him the spot to Mark Smith as Smith goes down the inside and looks to take advantage of that. And Mark Smith has got some really good pace at the moment as well. Mark Smith's on some much fresher tyres too, don't forget. He managed to extend his stint a little bit. His tyres have only done about 28 laps compared to 30 of Ruben Phelps as they go 3 wide past Andrew Dyson. 3 wide here at Las Vegas. Round turn 3 and 4, they make contact and rubbing his racing. A bit of door banging there between Smith and Phelps.
These two are hard battlers. They definitely won't want to give each other an inch. And we can see there Dyson just thinking better of it and just dropping in behind them. Let these two battle. They are only a lap down, so there is no rule. We've got no rule on that. They are free to battle and for their position, even amongst the lead lap cars.
Absolutely, and look, that's the point of stock car racing and oval racing is, you have battles going throughout the field, and endurance racing as well. It is so important to keep those battles going and to make it so that they can actually happen. And this time, Mark Smith gets a great run through 1 and 2. Can he make the move through 3 and 4? He's got himself ahead. He slides up in front of Phelps and gets the move done. Can Ruben come back at him? Can the Flying Kiwi absolutely come back at Mark Smith? He's going to try. Gets a good run across the tri-oval. Gets himself underneath the rear axle of Mark Smith. Sitting down low, can he get the car to grip up? Or will he just be off as they get so close to making contact once again? Just the wind off the rear axle there, just forcing Phelps just spear left a little tiny bit, just that little bit of a jink. These guys are racing hard, and Dyson sat there just enjoying this fight, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Although I think Dyson will want to get past these guys, because now the gap out to his teammate Pearson is out to 4 seconds. So he definitely won't want to be stuck here too long. Unfortunately, though, these two in front, Phelps and Smith, are really having a ding-dong battle.
Really are. Every time I look at my timing screen, there's a different car ahead between these two. They are really going for it at the moment and giving us a great entertaining battle. This is for 6th and 7th at the moment, as Andrew Dyson's had enough of this and he's decided to go in the middle of the cars as they go free wide. Ruben Phelps gets really loose off the corner. He just saves it. Somehow he saves that. That, I thought, was going to be night over and done for Phelpsy in the 0-6.
Yeah, definitely very sideways there off that turn. Very lucky not to come hard left and go down in the Dyson, and that would have seen our second caution of the night.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe we would see the green, the luminescent green of Ruben Phelps going into the orange of Dyson there. But they just managed to get through unscathed. Great save by Ruben Phelps. Absolute stellar job. He's starting to struggle a little bit now. He's got too much heat in those rear tyres by the look of it, because that thing is not sticking to the road and is very, very twitchy. It's interesting, Koch there. He's coming back at these guys. Remember, he just came into the pit lane, so he's on much fresher tyres, and he's trying to get some positions back now. Tristan Koch is currently sitting in 20th position, but he has to make another pit stop. So he's got to make one more stop in this race than everybody else. Well, pretty much everybody else. We're getting to the crossover point in about 3 laps' time. They'll be able to make it home just about on one more tank of fuel. So we are quickly coming to the end of tonight's festivities, of tonight's race. And who is going to take it? You've got to say it's looking very good for Neil Pearson. It would be a very, very brave or an unwise person to get to bet against red here tonight at Las Vegas. But I'm sure a few people will stack a couple of chips on orange and even a couple on yellow as well, just in case. But it is looking very good, I've got to say, for DPR. 4 cars inside the top 10. Neil Pearson, Andrew Dyson, Stevie Dubb and Ryan Jones. All 4 of the flavours of DPR up in this race and racing very well here tonight.
Also, Carl, but I would not count out Carl Needler. He's only a lap down, and should we get a caution, that'll put him back onto the lead lap. So we may end up still with a 5-way battle here tonight. So everyone, all the DPR cars are split up now. There's Pearson out in front. 4 seconds back, we've got Dyson. Then another almost 5 seconds back, we've got Stevie Williams there in third. Ryan Jones is a second off Williams in 4th place. But we know he's carrying damage on that right front, as we can see there from those pictures coming to you now. Then Carl Needler, he's 20, he's a lap down. So, as I said, if we do get a caution, look at him getting the lucky dog. 6th is Mark Smith, a fair way back. And 7th, we can see there in the background, Ruben Phelps, now out to about a second gap between those two. Ruben's tyres, I say, have had the best. Matty Raymond, not the best night. We don't normally see him down a lap, but he's been able to work his way up into 8th position now. So great to see him in the top 10. Norman Clark back in 9th position. He is now the lead Valve Esports car, also a lap down. So we are not a good night for those Toyotas. And rounding out the top 10 is the 24 of Maxi Marshall. So having a good night for Maxi. He doesn't do a lot of our races, but great to see him out there and get a top 10. Another one of our Kiwis, Wayne Van Billion, down in 11th. Luke Jager, they've not had a lot to say with him tonight. He's been a very quiet. But he's now up in the 12th. Brett Campbell, after battling for the lead earlier on, he's unfortunately fallen 2 laps down in 13th position. A good night for him in the top 15. Jamie Nankervis in the 14th position. Not the night he will be looking for. He'll go back and I'm quite sure he'll come have a chat with me and we'll discuss his misfortunes tonight. We've seen him get caught in pit lane as that first and only caution come out for the night, Carl. So it's not been a good night for him. Tom Williams, the Quantum Esports Ford team, in 15th. So good night for him. New to the ovals. So very good to see him up in the top 15. So that's your top 15 for you at the moment. But we'll jump back up front with, as we do, we just see Nick Bottrell into the wall heavy as Pearson passes him and puts him 3 laps down.
Yeah, there's been a couple of close calls out there, and this is where fatigue really starts to set in. And it is a very long race. These races are long, and even at half distance, these races are long. They take it out of you, and it's so easy to have a lapse of concentration, to just have those little moments where you sort of have a little flick to your side, just something catches your attention that normally wouldn't, and to have an accident. Of course, also at this stage of the race, often drivers are a little bit less comfortable, you've got to say, as it's been a fairly long time without getting up and going to the bathroom and having a quick sip of water and all these little things. So all of these things come into play in a race, especially in a sim race, because you really have no other option than to just hold it in and just let it distract you a little bit. And that can really cause some issues. Tristan Koch has decided to pull it into the lane now for his second stop. Phil Butler is also coming in for his 4th stop. So we're seeing the pit stops start to happen. We'll see leaders start to come in soon as well, as they can make it home from here without any problem. Who's going to be the first to pit in the lead group? Who is going to stay out as long as possible? You've got to say, if you're Mark Smith or Carl Needler at the moment, you probably want to stick it out as long as possible. Stay out on track just in case the caution flag does fall, and it could very much get you back into this race. If you're sitting back there and Andrew Dyson, you might come in a couple of laps earlier, try and get a bit of a jump over Neil Pearson. But that's really it at the moment, because Dyson's fallen about 5 seconds back. We've seen Stevie Dubbett and Ryan Jones. They both came in about 10 laps prior, and they're coming in once again. So they're pulling it in now, just that little bit, on schedule actually. They wouldn't have made it any more laps than this. So they had to come in now for fuel pretty much. So they're going to come out on fresh tyres, take advantage of that, see if they can build up a bit of a lead over Pearson and Dyson, and see what they can do in these final few laps. Carl Needler will need to come into the pit lane very shortly. He'll probably be in the next lap or two, because his fuel is starting to run a little bit low. But we should see, we'll probably see Pearson, Dyson, Mark Smith stick it out for a fair few more laps, maybe Ruben Phelps as well, just to try and see if there's a late caution, just so they can take advantage of that. But with the style of driving tonight, with the great driving out here tonight, Mark, those cautions are not looking very likely.
No, definitely not. And we just seen there, I don't know if you picked that up, Carl. Stevie Williams actually just overshot his pit bail, just that fraction. We've seen him get into his pit box first over Jones, but then he had to throw it in the reverse and just come back a little bit. So let's hope that doesn't cost him a podium. They're now sitting down in 7th and 8th, but they have to wait for Dyson and the rest of the guys to pit, so they'll be back up on the lead lap.
That's it, and well, it's cost Stevie Dub about 2 seconds, that little mistake, and that's enough to move him from in front of Jones to behind him. And you sort of talk about 2 seconds; it's nothing really in the real world. 2 seconds goes by in a blink of an eye, but in racing terms, that is an eternity. 2 seconds can be the difference from 1st to 15th in some of these races. It is such a narrow margin we're talking about. A little mistake like that in a green flag stop can cost you so much time that you've been working hard on all night to gain up. You might spend hours on track trying to gain 2 seconds over the guy in front of you, and then to lose it in a pit stop like that is so disheartening.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's one of the unforced errors that we have seen tonight. And from Stevie Dubb, one of the most experienced oval track racers in Australia and New Zealand. With more than, I think we worked it out, more than 500 race starts in Ant's car. So just a little lapse of concentration, and it can cost you a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. As although it's coming back to Stevie Dubb now as he gets past Ryan Jones. He I think the green mist descended on Stevie Dubb. He doesn't have red mist; he has green mist, and he's absolutely taking advantage of that missed opportunity in pit lane and getting himself back up in front of Ryan Jones with some amazing pace.
Yeah, we know that Jones is carrying some damage on that right front, so that definitely would not be helping him. As the track now is just about all in shadows, so we've not too many laps to go now. We will see these last lot of pit stops. 45 laps to remain in this race tonight.
Paddy Ray bringing it into the lane for his scheduled stop right here, and he's on his way back out now after about 15 seconds stationary in his pit box. Fairly decent time there for Matty Ray, 39 seconds through the lane. That is 39.3 for Matty Ray. That is one of the quickest stops we've seen tonight, and quickest transitions through pit lane as well. He absolutely nailed that pit stop. He pretty much the same time as Norman Clark. Norman Clark, 39.7. Both stationary for 15 seconds exactly. They absolutely got those stops as quick as you can. And look, that's one of the strengths of Dyson is his pit lane transition time and his pit stops. There's not much time you can gain in the pit lane, but every second counts. And Andrew Dyson's one of those drivers that absolutely will nail his marks, really be the last second braking coming into the lane and get the car accelerated nice and quick. And that's where he gains a lot of time in a race like this. So we'll see how much time he can gain, because he's currently sitting about 5 seconds behind Neil Pearson. He's coming to the lane now, I'd say. So he's pulling it into the lane now. Let's see this stop of the 41 and see if he can gain on Neil Pearson. So when he came into the lane, he was about 4.5, about 5 seconds behind. So we'll see what that gap is once they get back out, because Neil Pearson's bringing it into the lane right now. So he's not letting Dyson get the fresh tyre advantage by too much. He's pulled it into the lane as well, and Dyson off the jacks, off the right side, on the jacks on the left side. How quick will this pit stop be? He's heading out the lane now. 39.7 that transition time. So same as Norman Clark. Not quite as speedy as Maddie Ray tonight. Maddie Ray absolutely nailing that pit stop. That was an absolutely fantastic stop. What about Neil Pearson? Can he blitz the field with a fantastic pit stop? About 15.4 seconds stationary, so that's going to cost him a little bit in the transition time. He comes up to the line now. Stationary for 39.7 seconds, so bang on the same pit lane transition time as Andrew Dyson. So they absolutely did the same time through the pit lane. But what you'll probably find here is Dyson's going to close the gap just a tiny bit because he's got those slightly fresher tyres. So we'll see what he can do here as the gap has fallen to about 4 seconds now. So with that pit stop, with those slightly fresher tyres coming out onto track, Andrew Dyson's made up about 1.1 seconds on Neil Pearson. Mark Smith into the lane now, the final car to stop tonight for their main pit stop. Probably see Justin Allen needing to make one more stop as well. So there'll be one more car needing to come into the lane, but Mark Smith coming in now for his service. Will come back out on some nice fresh tyres, although I think he may have got himself a speeding penalty. So yeah, Mark Smith has got himself a penalty because he was stationary for a long time there, and that is not what he wants to see. That's going to drop him outside the top 10. Oh, a painful stop for the 07 of Mark Smith. That is a mistake that he will be kicking himself for.
Yeah, definitely not a good stop. And we can see now the lights starting to take effect on this track. So track temperature will cool down. We've got 37 laps to go. So let's see if we can get through this with all green racing, or we will see a caution.
Will we get green to the end, or will we see one more caution? Would not bet against seeing the yellow flag flying once more tonight, but with the great drives from everybody, it's not looking very likely. Everybody doing a great job here tonight. Just the one caution in this race. That's a fantastic result from everybody. Give yourselves a pat on the back because they have done such a good job of keeping it clean out there. We've seen a couple of big saves, but everybody doing a fantastic job out there to keep the racing clean and keep it green.
Yeah, definitely. And I just brought up the information. 18 lead changes, so with 7 individual leaders. So great racing tonight. Unfortunately, we've seen that this DPR team really show the dominance here tonight at Vegas. So as I said, next week we're off to Phoenix. And I know you won't be with us, Carl. So enjoy your night off. I'll definitely have to find someone to come up and sit in your chair for a night.
Absolutely. The bum grooves are nice and worn. You'll find it very comfortable indeed. But we are off to hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed, I'm off to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. So hopefully I won't be here next week, Mark. But yeah, looking forward to that indeed. Going off to see some 4 medal race cars out in Adelaide, and hopefully get to see Mr. Damon Hill as well, an absolute hero of mine. So looking forward to that one indeed. But Phoenix will be a very different track. Expect to see some faces pop up from the past as well who absolutely adore that track because it is a great place to race on, and it's the one track I have a podium on as well, Mark. So it's in the Oval League Racing series that we run. So it's the only track that I've managed to get on the podium for.
Yeah, well, next week I know the Mitch boys don't mind that. We might see them out in the track. Dave Douglas is another one that likes that track. Maybe he might come out for one of his rare appearances. And as I said earlier on tonight, JCW led that race over with the ANSCAR trucks on Thursday night, and he absolutely dominated that track in the trucks there. So maybe we might even see him come out and have a run in the race. I know there's one driver that's hasn't been out here apart from the 500, and that's Adam Schultz. I know he's keen to get back out on the track. He's just having a break, a forced break. He's got his in the moving situation at the moment. So maybe I might be able to pull him away from his team commitments and get him up into the box next week.
No, absolutely. Well, it would be a fun one to watch back on. And well, another driver that had an absolute stellar night in the ANSCAR series, we might even see Lachlan Upgo lurking back towards the track because he was very strong as well in Phoenix. One of the only other drivers able to keep it up there with Martin and JCW in the green flag running. So it'd be interesting to see if any of those managed to make it out and if they can repeat their performance at Phoenix that they had, because we saw some very fast cars out on the track in that race. Meanwhile, we've got 29 laps remaining and it's Neil Pearson in the lead, only by 1.6 seconds. Andrew Dyson is closing the gap at a vast rate of knots and trying to get himself on the tail of that red-flavoured DPR car. Stevie Dubb doing a good job in third position. He's managed to build up about a 1.4 second lead over Ryan Jones at the moment. You can see he's got Maxi Marshall right behind him. That's not Ryan in the yellow car. It's one of the other yellow cars out on track. Ryan's just sitting a little bit further back, just behind him. Carl Niegler still doing a good job of keeping pace. He's a lap down, but he is still keeping at a good pace at the moment. One of the faster cars out there that is not a DPR entry. So having a very good run indeed. Unfortunately, I think we may have lost Jamie Nankervis due to a technical issue. So a big shame for the number 8 Valve Esports car, because he had a very quick sled underneath him tonight. But circumstances have not really paid off for Jamie Nankervis. And it looks like his night is over, as well as, a big whack into the wall. Who was that? Just in the background, it was Tom Williams giving the wall a massive nudge. Just a little bit of contact, I think, between himself and Andrew Dyson just coming through there. And I think I just saw Dyson clip the wall as well. So
replay coming.
Very scruffle laps. So let's see the replay here. So we'll see the replay here. As Tom Williams was sort of going down a lap, and he just runs down. He just gets a little bit squirrely, does he? And makes contact with Dyson. Up into the wall he goes. And then Andrew Dyson just a little bit further along. No, there's contact. There's contact. We're going to get a caution flag. Are we going to get the caution flag as Tristan Koch is going around on the front tri-oval? Just about got that car turned, and I think might have just got away with not bringing out the caution there. Tristan Koch just saving that one from disaster. Just a little bit of contact again with Andrew Dyson just coming out onto the tri-oval. Those two just make contact as Dyson gets a bit loose. Both those cars got really, really squirrely. You can see Dyson makes contact with the wall this time round, and then it's the next lap where he'll make contact with Tristan Koch. So we'll go around here. We'll keep our eyes on this replay for the moment, and we'll see they just both get a little bit squirrely coming across the tri-oval, and it gets a little bit chaotic there as I was keeping one eye on the replay and one eye on the race itself. So watch here. Tristan Koch just gets that little bit light heading up towards the wall, and I think Dyson had a little bit of a wiggle on as well. So it was one of those racing incidents where both cars got a little bit light coming through the final corner and then made contact with each other.
Yeah, just nothing in that. Looks like Tristan just got a little bit loose. Dyson got a little bit loose, and Tristan just got caught on the rear quarter by Dyson. So we'll leave that one for the post-race review, and we'll definitely know next week what if anything any penalties will be handed out for it.
Meanwhile, as the race goes on, Edward Foster managed to get himself in the top 20 now. He's up in P20 at the moment, as Tom Williams coming into the lane, and might be enough to get Foster up into the top 19 here. Absolutely plugging along after an early incident for Foster. and an early big amount of damage dropped him down 10 laps, but he's managed to crawl his way back up from the very rear of the field, up inside the top 20 here in the 53. "21 laps remaining here tonight, and it's Neil Pearson up in the lead, and they are chugging along nicely. And just to say the pace of Foster tonight, it's a shame that we saw him drop so early, because he's had some good pace. I think he would have been up there in the top 10, battling away for position tonight, and sort of having a good fight with that group in the top 10. So it's a shame to see that car drop out so early, but as is motorsport, unfortunately. Neil Pearson still in the lead. He's got 1.8 over Andrew Dyson at the moment. After those scrappy couple of laps from Dyson and just those little moments, they really have knocked the momentum out of the 41 in this race, unfortunately. Stevie Dubbs still sitting in third position, 15 seconds back from the leader. He's got a good couple of seconds over teammate Ryan Jones in fourth now, and looking pretty comfortable in that spot. Ryan Jones still with that damage to the front right of his car, but chugging along at a good pace still, just that little bit off his teammates, unsurprisingly, with that damage. And Carl Needler still sitting in fifth position. A really strong night from Carl. Absolutely fantastic job taking the pole position and being the best of the rest, you got to say, the best non-DPR car out here tonight. Carl Needler absolutely having a stunning job. So as we come into the final few laps of this race, will we see the late caution bring a sting to the tail of tonight's action, or will we see it green to the flag? Justin Allen pulling in for his final pit stop here. Quick splash and dash and back out on track, I'm sure, for the number 6 as we continue on here at Las Vegas. And, well, it's been one heck of a performance for Neil Pearson tonight. Has done the most overtakes of anybody here tonight. By my counting, it's probably in the high 50s, early 60s, having dropped down the field after working his way back up after a poor qualifying performance. He spun it coming out of turn 4, dropped him down to the back of the pack. He had to work his way up 23 positions. He did that. Then in a pit stop, he was a little bit slow, and that dropped him to the back of the pack once again, having to fight his way through the field. He did that once again and moved himself up into the lead of this race tonight, where he has been sitting pretty for many laps now. Absolutely fantastic job from a returning Neil Pearson.
Yeah, Neil's definitely shown his true colours tonight. Some great racing. You're right, Carl. Twice through the field for him tonight. So some brilliant driving from him. Realistically, though, brilliant driving from everyone. The DPR cars have just been on song, and really no one's been out of match him. Carl Needler was able to stay with him for a little while. Oh, excuse me, as a frog jumps into my throat. So yeah, it's really dominant performance from DPR tonight. Matty Ray, he and the SRM boys, they're up there. Needler
Matty Ray's battling out with Norman Clark still. Those two have been fighting all race long almost.
Yeah, Norman's the lead car for VLV Sports in his Toyota. So good to see a Toyota up there in the top 10. Although I must say tonight's been a Chevrolet night, with them closing out a lot of the top 10 positions. And as we see Pearson coming around to put them another lap down, so that will put both Matty Ray and Norman Clark now 2 laps down.
just shows the pace of those DPR cars tonight. They have been absolutely flying, and Maddie Ray just gaining a bit of a gap over Norman Clark now. But this fight has been something that has gone on all race long, and Norman absolutely pushing Maddie Ray to the limit, and this is the battle for 7th and 8th position. Maxi Marshall doing a fantastic job as well, down in 9th position. Really strong run from Maxi Marshall tonight, and really strong performance for him. So going to be pretty happy with a 9th place finish, up 18 spots throughout the field for Marshall. So very strong job indeed. And Wayne Van Bullion, the final car in the top 10. So a really strong night from the VSK team, and going to be pretty happy with having 2 cars inside the top 10 tonight with Needler and Billion.
Yeah, definitely a great result for our Kiwi team. You know, we got to shout out to our Kiwis guys. They're now 2 hours in front of us. So it's now 11:30, coming on midnight over there. And another big shout out to our American driver that was here tonight, Russell Bratka. Unfortunately, we lost him early in the race with a huge accident out of turn 4 onto the back straight.
Yeah, it's a big shame because Bratka had some really good pace tonight, and I think Russell Bratka could have been the only car capable of taking it to DPR tonight. He was really the car that was performing very well out there, and just didn't quite have the luck with him tonight, and just got that little bit of contact, sent him around, and unfortunately got collected by Mark Smith. Just the lightest of touches, but it was enough to launch him over the top of Brett Campbell, and that's the only caution we've seen tonight. Meanwhile, the fight is still continuing. Norman Clark versus Maddie Ray, and these two have got a lot of experience with each other out on track. They're often racing against each other. They seem to have similar pace with each other in the latter stages of the race, and they're both very good at keeping tyres alive and keeping the car alive for those final few laps. Norman Clark getting the advantage at the moment, getting himself up ahead of Maddie Ray, who's given the wall a couple of light licks in the past few laps, but he has got himself just out of the range, and it looks like Norman Clark may have just secured 7th spot.
Yeah, Norman's just found a little bit of speed in that Toyota, so good to see that. Just as we're rounding down the laps, I'll just shout out to our sponsors, Lucas Oils and Pluckers Racecraft, one of our major sponsors. If you need any race gear or race oils, or even oils for your general day car use, make sure you reach out to Paul Drady there at Lucas Oils and Pluckers Racecraft. Also, our other major sponsor, backing the Valve Sports team, Everything Simulated, everything from cockpits through to pedals, steering base, wheel bases, and everything, or even a customized sim rig. Reach out and have a talk to the boys over there. Outlaw Stock Cars, racing on a miniature scale, but down there in Melbourne. Also, Ariel Auto Sport Paints. If you need a customised paint, reach out to him, and he'll do a fantastic job there on a paint for you. Also, Mountain Designs are as sponsors of our weekly prizes that the guys get for race wins. And I think that's about it, I do believe. So I was just going to say, so if you need anything, reach out to our sponsors, show them some love, because without them, this racing couldn't come to you live each week.
Absolutely, a huge thank you to all of them for helping us out and keeping us going. Always a pleasure to have them with us, and always a pleasure to see them helping out with the rest of the field as well. Well, we've got 2.4 laps remaining, not long now until we see Neil Pearson crossing the line. So the late caution does not look like it's going to come out here tonight, Mark. and it has been a fantastic drive from Neil Pearson, who has just a few short miles to go until he'll see that checkered flag and be able to take a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a rest, and a bit of a celebration as well for a well-deserved victory here at Las Vegas. The white flag will be showing this time around, and next flag will be the checkered. So it's looking very good for Neil Pearson. Just one more lap to go in the red flavour DPR car, and he will be tasting the champagne up in Victory Lane here tonight in Vegas and celebrating for sure. If you didn't bet on red tonight, you did not make the right choice, it seems, as Neil Pearson will be taking a absolutely fantastic victory here tonight. The checkered flag flies, and it's victory for DPR, it's victory for the 62, and it's victory for Neil Pearson. Andrew Dyson comes home in second position. Third place will be the Mean Green Machine, Mr. Stevie Dub, coming across the line, taking a DPR lockout up at the front of the field. Ryan Jones will come home in fourth position as he crosses the line. The final car on the lead lap. Carl Needler comes home in fifth spot. A great result for Carl. Great pole position from himself. Took away the opportunity for DPR for having all of the prizes for tonight. Jamie Nankervis will take the fastest lap tonight as well. So DPR didn't have it all their way, at least. Ruben Phelps comes home in sixth position. Norman Clark secured seventh with Maddie Ray in eighth. Ninth for Maxi Marshall. Wayne Van Billion comes home, rounding out the top 10.
So we just bring up the finishing order there, Carl.
So as we said, Neil Pearson taking the victory there. Dyson second, third for Stevie Dub. Ryan Jones in fourth, Carl Nicola in fifth. Ruben Phelps comes home in sixth. Norman Clark in seventh. Maddie Ray in eighth. Ninth for Maxi Marshall and Wayne Van Billion rounding out the top 10. As we roll over the page, it's Luke Yeager coming home in 11th position with Mark Smith in 12th after that penalty in pit lane. That green flag penalty's hurt him hard. Brett Campbell getting very lucky not to receive more damage, comes home in 13th position. Martin Pedersen in 14th. 15th for Justin Allen. Adam Ariel comes home in 16th with Tristan Koch inside the top 20 in 17th position. Philip Butler comes home in 18th spot with Edward Foster sitting in 19th position in the end. Managed to make it inside the top 20 after an early incident hurting his steering arm. Tom Williams rounds out the top 20. And Matthew Beale will come home 21st with Jamie Nankervis out with some technical issues. Nick Bottarelli in 23rd spot. Noddy Tompkins 24th. Russell Bracker 25th. Luke Georgeson 26th. And Steve Hoppett out early with some steering issues. Big shame for Russell Bracker as well. Had some absolute pace out there tonight. Just could not make use of it.
No, definitely could not. So it's going to be interesting, as we said, Carl, on the Phoenix next week. That is a place where some drivers absolutely love and then other drivers absolutely hate. The biggest problem there is that open dogleg, where guys come down across that dogleg and back onto the track. That could see some big incidents there. We have seen it happen in the past.
Absolutely, it's a track that can easily catch you off guard and catch you out, but it does produce some absolutely brilliant racing as well. So we look forward to seeing that one coming up next time out here on Checkered Flag e-streaming. That will be next Saturday, of course, same time, same place. But tonight we still have some interviews to do with our top 3 finishers for the DPR team. So we might start off tonight with our 3rd place finisher for DPR, the Mean Green Machine of Mr. Stevie Dub. Bring up into the channel now. Stevie Dub, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish here and a very strong result for the team as well.
Yeah, g'day. Thanks for that. That was good. Hard work, though, being green the whole way.
I was about to say, it was a looked like a grueling race out there with the length and having such a long green flag period. It looks like very hard work out there for you as well, having to battle against your teammates.
Yep, yep. Having a bit of a battle there with Ryan. Had nothing for Neil and Daiso though.
No, we did see you guys coming in, trying to come in that little bit earlier, trying for the fresher tyres. It doesn't look like it quite worked out for the front runners, but it kept you and Ryan absolutely neck and neck.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. Just main thing is not get too involved in the battles and burn up the tyres.
Oh, well, you absolutely made that work tonight. We saw in that final stop as well, you just missed your marks there a little bit, but you came back with the speed after that.
Yeah, Ryan had a bit of damage, so yeah, it didn't really, make it hard work for me.
Oh, look, it's Ryan. I'm sure he made it slightly hard. Look, congratulations, Stevie Dub. Well done on a third place finish here tonight. We'll make Neil do the hard work with all the team sponsors. But any personal shout outs you'd like to give tonight?
No, just you fellas for putting the stream on and Mark putting the league on, and yeah, it's good fun to be a part of.
Always good. Congratulations, Stevie Dub. Well done again. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth soon.
Thanks. Cheers.
Stevie Williams there for DPR. Next up into the booth, it is the orange flavour of DPR car. It's Mr. Andrew Dyson. Dyson, welcome back to the booth, mate. Congratulations on second place here at Las Vegas.
Thanks, man. Would have been nice to be fighting for the win, but it didn't quite pan out that way, so I'll take a second.
What is this going on? Teammates beating you constantly. You can't have that, can you?
Well, I was on. We were on for a while there. Then I had some dramas mid-race with about 80 to go, but it kind of bugs me anyway. But I couldn't do anything about Neil. By that stage, he was already gone.
Well, we saw a couple of little dramas heading into the final few laps of the race, and it did look like that just slowed you down a little bit. The car looked really tricky out there tonight at some stages as well. The back did not look stuck if you got a little bit too much heat through it.
Yeah, well, for probably 90% of the race, it was mint. Like it was actually amazingly good. Neil and I both commented like we like the car slightly differently. He and I ran exactly the same setup as opposed to the other guys, slightly different. But look, we drive it differently. We look at different things, but we both agreed that it was awesome in the way that he likes to drive it, and it was awesome for the way that I like to drive it. So it was interesting stuff. Made no changes, just sent it around, and it was really good. It was only bad probably after I had my last pit stop because for the first 10 laps I came out the pits, I didn't lift, and that certainly done the right rear a little bit of a mischief, especially when I kind of got in the air of a couple of cars, one on the outside, one in front of me, and ended up having a little clip with Tristan there. So other than getting a little bit loose there for a few laps and had to turn it down, it was mint the whole way.
Oh, absolutely. The DPR cars looked very strong tonight, and well, they showed it. It was a top 4 lockout for all of you. Congratulations on a solid result for this week and for last week as well. Unfortunately, we did not get to chat to you guys after that one as well. But heading off to Phoenix next time out, how are you looking for that race?
Always enjoy Phoenix. It's has its quirks and can be pretty exciting on race starts as always. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, congratulations tonight, Daiso. We'll make Neil do all the hard work with all the sponsors, but any personal shout-outs you'd like to give tonight?
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Well, the Simrics boys always get behind me, so I'll get behind them and urge everyone else to get around them. And yeah, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and the league and everything like that. Appreciate it.
Always welcome, and we'll hopefully see you back for Phoenix for some more great racing.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
Andrew Dyson there, the orange flavour of DPR car. And finally tonight we will bring up the red flavour of DPR. It's Mr. Neil Pearson returning we're coming to the series for the first time in the Aussie Outlaws and taking victory first time out in a, dominating fashion. Neil Pearson, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a absolute dominant victory.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that the DPR cars were just too good tonight.
They were a little bit good tonight, it is true. All 4 of the cars up in the top 4 positions. We saw you guys have a very strong race last week as well. But tonight, you were absolutely on fire. Starting down towards the back after a bit of a qualifying mistake.
Yeah, I just spun it out of turn 4. at the start on my qualifying lap, and that just voided both my laps. A bit annoying, but I mean, I knew the car was good. So yeah, I was just biding my time and caught up, and yeah, then at the first stop under caution, I went to try fiddle with my spotter settings and actually, dropped back down the field but couldn't even get the change that I wanted sorted, and then yeah, managed to drive back up.
So you've preempted me because I was going to ask you what happened in that stop, but you managed to drive your way back up through the field twice. Then you had your early stopping teammates, Ryan Jones and Stevie Dubb, jump ahead of you as well. Had to show them what for, and then you had to beat Dyson at the end as well. You know, show that young whippersnapper what for.
That's it. It's unfortunate. Daiso had a bit of some highway issues mid-race, and that caused him pretty much to drop out. I was actually looking forward to a good race between him and myself. I was thinking as much strategy as I could, and I know he was doing the same. Like, do I underpit, like fuel levels put in, adjustments, whatever, just to see what the car would do. But it was just unfortunate we didn't get that race at the end. But yeah, it was good fun though.
No, absolutely. Look, a solid result for you and the team as well. You must be delighted having all four cars up there as well. The only cars to finish on the league lap.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Ryan and Steve did really well. Unfortunately, Ryan had some damage with contact with another car. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but yeah, he wasn't too happy about it. And Steve, he drove really well, and can't complain with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely. Oh, look, I'm sure you could find a way to complain. I mean, you didn't get pole, you didn't get fastest lap. I mean, what's wrong with you? I mean, that's just disgrace. That's just sloppy work there, Neil.
Who did you get fastest lap? Oh, Matthew Beale did. No, Jamie Nankervis, sorry.
Yeah.
With a 241, and what did we do? Daiso did a 263. So there's not much in there, is what it is. And
Excuses, excuses.
I know. And Carl, he was fast in qualifying. He was able to get those 1 lap down. So he did really well for that.
Absolutely. We're talking a little bit because that car looked absolutely lightning at the start of the stint and towards the end of the stint, and we're just interested to see if there was a green-white checker that we might see come back at you. But fortunately, it went green for a very long time, and I imagine that was slightly tiring as well because it looked like a lot of hard work out there.
To be honest, the car was very easy to drive. It was, as I heard Daiso's interview, and it was just magic. I don't think I've ever driven a car that good. Like, I was just amazed. Like, I was just able to drive it how I wanted to, and it would just do what I wanted, and it would just hold on for the whole run. And it was just amazing. Like, I've never had a car that good in my iRacing career. So,
well, big props to the work on the setup there. Congratulations, Neil. Before I let you go, the love, the shout out to sponsors, to the team, to everything. Go for it. You all deserve it tonight.
Just you guys for the broadcast. Mark for saying, unfortunately, DPR's too good all the time. Simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Benmax Mechanical, MP Designs, Daiso and all the boys, Steve and Ryan for the good race the whole way through, and everyone else in the league. It was good fun. Everyone raced pretty fair from my perspective, and I had a lot of fun tonight.
Congratulations, mate, and hopefully see you back maybe for Phoenix.
We'll have to see. I think I might have something on next Saturday, but I definitely plan to make it. If not, Bristol, I think I'll definitely be there for that one. I love Bristol, so.
Congratulations, mate, and I'm sure when we see you next, you'll be back up here battling and probably back up here in the booth.
I hope to see you guys then.
Thank you so much, Neil Pearson, there for DPR, the red flavour of DPR as well, with an absolutely fantastic victory there, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. Again, Carl, we've seen the dominance of DPR tonight. Let's hope next week it's not the same thing. I know there's some guys here that really do like Bristol, and as I said, we may see some of the other guys like Dave Douglas come out for a hit, JCW. Phoenix next week, and let's see what's happening.
Absolutely. And look, we're done for tonight. We are finished, and thankfully, no issues appearing. And luckily, we've stayed broadcasting all night as well, which is always nice. We apologise again about last week at Atlanta losing the broadcast. Some funky YouTube issues there. But we will see you again for Phoenix next week. Make sure to head over and join us there for that over on Checkered Flag e-streaming. Thank you, as always, to all our viewers tonight, everybody for coming along, everybody for joining us. And of course, a big thank you to all the drivers and Mr. Mark Johansson doing the hard work on the cameras and also having to put up with me for the evening. I'm as ever Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, wishing you all a good night, and we'll see you again next time out at Phoenix.